You damn right. Hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. Wednesday before the Super Bowl. Got your plans? Got your food? Got it all ready? Go to hornfm.com. We got a chance for you to win that big game prize pack. Go to hornfm.com. Check out all the interviews we've had for you. We're going to be posting those throughout the week. Bucky and Aaron had a chance to talk with Super Bowl winning coach Brian Billick this morning. Pictures of that and more up at hornfm.com. Interviews on site with our man Super Bowl Stu. Interviews that we've had. We got a couple more, hopefully, set up for you this week. We'll get to that. We got a big basketball record to talk about. We got some Texas football developments to talk about. And we will get into Super Bowl 50. I got my pick already. I'll tell you at 12:30. People wait around. People that do what we do, they'll wait around. Oh, no, I've got to break it down a little more. I've got to look at some. I'll tell you coming up. I'll give you a score and everything. We'll do that at 12:30. I'm Chad Hastings. It is Chad and Zay. The Zay part of that is the one and only Isaiah Collier. What's up, Zay?
What's good, Chad? I see you're already taking shots at me because I am that guy that's going to crunch the numbers down, and I do not have a pick right now.
That's good. That's good because you're actually thinking it through, and you're probably going to have a more accurate pick than me. I'll just throw it out there.
Yeah, I feel like you're being just petty. Because you hate the Eagles that much.
It could be. That could be. That's always a possibility. My pettiness is always a possibility. And speaking of pettiness, before we get into it, I just want to double check because last night I watched Westlake against Buda Johnson. You and Roger Wallace did a great job. And once again, y'all need to just let everybody know around this area, wherever y'all go, there's a good game. Y'all end up with good, close games, entertaining games, and Westlake avenges that loss earlier in the season and gets the win. But there was a moment in the game where a Westlake guy's on the free throw line, and you said that he hadn't missed or wouldn't miss or didn't miss or whatever. And then you said, commentator jinx, and then you said, my apologies to the Shaps fans out there. Was that sincere, or did you have the tongue planted in cheek at that point?
That's growth, Chad.
That was growth?
Now that I am 32, I feel like there's some pettiness that I need to just let go.
I was proud of you.
And that was one of those moments where I said, I could be petty here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be the nice guy. Coach Lucero's my dude.
Mm-hmm.
And, I will take the blame for that commentator jinx there. I'll take the blame for that.
That was big of you.
Yeah.
It really was.
I know, man. I felt good. A very noble moment for myself.
Well done. Probably helped that you were wearing a suit at the time.
Yes.
Sometimes that suit makes you think, okay, well, I'm a little more.
I'll be hanging out with them Spanish Oaks folks.
That's
so
right.
I'm out there.
You've done the Spanish Oaks lasagna party.
Yeah, man. I'm out there. Shout out to both docs.
I haven't been there. I haven't had the Caesar salad with the real anchovies in it.
We'll see what we can do next year.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do next year.
Dude,
I'll talk to Doc, see if I can pull some strings.
If you could get me in, just give me like a 5 months notice on what kind of clothes I have to wear. I may need to get something ordered. All right, we are getting ready for another fun show on a Wednesday. We're glad you're there. Remember, the Specs text line is 337-3776, and I feel like we're going to have a lot of stuff for you guys to interact with today because we have a lot of different types of stories, but I think really interesting just type of conversation stuff. And it does start with last night and the record of all records in the NBA, the scoring record of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It had lived since '84. It almost got 40 years with Kareem, but LeBron broke the record last night. They put the counter up in the corner, literally at tip-off. Counted you all the way down. The tension in the building was cool. Famous people were there. LeBron breaks the record. Zay, did you check it out? And if so, what'd you think?
Yes, I did. And it was amazing just to have watched these last 20 years. I'll never forget the game, Chad, where we first saw him live. Well, where I first saw him live, ESPN, Dick Vitale was doing the game. I think he was playing against Darryl Strawberry's son, DJ Strawberry. I think he played at Modern Day. And that game was on. And
what was the name of that high school of LeBron's again?
St. Vincent St. Mary's.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah. And LeBron just showed out and was doing between the legs dunks and stuff and no look passes and pull up threes and never seen anything like it. And that same year, Texas basketball was at its peak with TJ Ford So, going to the Final Four and then seeing Carmelo Anthony, I'll never forget, which, Mama, I'm sorry, I got to do this to you. But my mom was like, oh, that guy's going number one, talking about Carmelo, just what Melo did to Texas and then Kansas win a national championship.
He did have a badass run.
He did. But at the college level, you would have thought, okay, that's not high school. That's not playing against, 16-year-olds and guys that, voice is still cracking and stuff. Like, you're playing against grown-ass men. Like, James Thomas was a grown-ass man.
Yes,
for
he
Texas.
Was. My God.
Royal Ivy, TJ Ford, those are some grown-ass men. And the way Melo was treating those boys, like, we remember, it's dark times for me, but still, that just to try to make my point here, Mom was like, oh, yeah, I'll take Carmelo Anthony. And I was like, I don't know, because that kid over there from Akron, he's doing some special stuff that I ain't never seen before. And yeah, there's just always that thought it's against high school kids. So to come and prove everybody wrong, to be, throwing out the name The Chosen One, he got it tattooed on his back. That was like one of his first tattoos, The Chosen One.
Wow.
So he took that and ran with it.
That's
like, you saw him with the headband back. He was paying homage to that kid that he was back in Akron, those few young years that he had. Like, I love Candace Parker talking about it on TNT. Like, and she pointed out, I was like, oh, yeah.
Did you see how much she flipped out when she saw the headband? Like,
yeah.
It freaked her out to where she just knew. She said, it's tonight. Tonight's tonight. He's getting it tonight, no doubt.
Yeah.
And they all kind of looked at her, but Shaq knew. Shaq was nodding. Yep. That's it.
And then it's just, for people to say, oh, he's not a scorer, he doesn't have the killer mentality, he's not Kobe, he's not MJ. He's passed those guys up by a long shot in all-time scoring. And I get it, the longevity, the durability, that helps, but you have to play meaningful basketball to get to this point. You have to go to multiple finals, you have to win finals, you got to play a lot of games to break the record that he did. Like, Kareem played till he was 42 years old. That's insane for a basketball player.
Oh, yeah.
That's insane for the legs and the modern medicine that they had back then. The fact that Kareem did that, that's very impressive. But we know LeBron's put like $1 million into his body each season, and he's gone about it the right way. He's, whatever you say about him off the court, I get it. The China thing, I get it. There's some things that you can, scratch your head at, but he hasn't been to jail, hasn't been to prison, hasn't beat nobody.
I'm about to say, hasn't had a major story of really any kind where he's on the other side of the law. I don't remember anything like that.
He might cuss at the wrong times, for example, last night. But
oh, sure.
Other than that, what can you really say? Like, you just got to straight up be a hater. I know they out there.
I don't remember a speeding ticket. I really don't. I don't remember like any of that kind of stuff.
Like, I try to nitpick Bron too. Like, just watching them all these years, like the Mavs series comes to mind where the Mavs just Rick Carlisle playing that zone. Like, that will always haunt them.
We should talk about that series a lot today. We should break down that series a lot today.
That series will always haunt them. And Jordan fans, that's what they go to when they talk about, oh, LeBron don't have the killer instinct. How did he lose to that team? Well, being a basketball junkie that I am, that team was pretty damn good.
Team was good.
That team was pretty good.
Team was damn good.
Like, I don't think Deshaun Stevenson, Peja, Jose Juan Barea, Jason Terry, I don't think they missed the three the whole playoff run.
Yeah.
Along with Dirk not missing a shot with that.
God, they got on a run.
Yeah, so nitpick all you want. Top 4 in assists. He's going to be top 10 in rebounds ever. Now he passed Kareem in scoring. It's going to be tough to catch. I don't think anybody's going to be able to catch it, but they said that about Kareem. Who knows? Yeah. I don't know if we'll be around to see it, but
I know you and I will probably both be dead when it happens.
We'll probably be long gone, but it's all right. I'm very happy with what I've seen these last 20 years. It's been a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, it'll be great-great-great-grandson Bron that breaks the record at that point. Give us your thoughts on it if you watch. 337-3776. Somebody says the Lakers have a bunch of drama going on. Yes, they do, and this just added to it. Last night is why L.A. can be the most special place to have something like that happening. Just all those famous people show up. The building has an energy to it and a buzz to it. So LeBron gets this done, passes Kareem, and the number was 38, the 38,387. He ends at 38,390 last night. Also, shout out to Nathan, what's his name? Nathaniel Butler, the NBA photographer, did the Wilt Chamberlain nod last night. Wrote it on a piece of paper, handed it to LeBron. LeBron posed like Wilt did way back in the day on the 100. Thought that was kind of cool too.
That's dope.
Yeah, paying tribute there. Also, Zay, did you hear that when Kareem broke Wilt's record, Wilt wasn't there? I didn't know that. In 84, when Kareem took the record, Wilt Chamberlain was not in attendance. And I did not hear the particulars as to why, but he wasn't there.
Come on, Chad. We all know why. He was cooped up having a menage a trois with about 3 other women.
He was in a bed that none of us will be able to
that's
afford.
That's what I'm saying.
Or live up to.
Exactly.
But how classy was the Cap last night? How classy was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar last night?
Yeah, he's just a weird guy. He was classy, but
he's odd. He's an odd duck
guy.
Because we know, you've talked about it, those two guys you could tell, they're not necessarily buddies.
Yeah.
They're not close the way he and Magic are close. But Captain did what he's supposed to do. He showed up. He sat there the whole time. He symbolically handed the basketball over. And LeBron was having a tough time processing it all while it was happening. Because I wanted him to immediately go to Kareem.
That's what I wanted to, yeah.
Go find Kareem right away. He didn't do that. He kind of pulled his family together. Kareem never blinked, though. Kareem stood there. He waited. He went where they told him to go. He went out to center court. They got it done. And then LeBron gave him his love and hugged him and thanked him and called him Cap. And then to the crowd, one of the first things he did was to thank Kareem and ask for a standing ovation for 433. So for me, as an older school fan, a guy that always rooted Lakers over Celtics, and a guy that really got to see the end of Kareem's run, he's my all-time 5. He's my guy. If I had to pick,
Kareem's your all-time 5?
Kareem's my all-time 5.
Huh.
If I'm picking that 5, I go Kareem, and my guy off the bench is probably the Dream.
Man.
That's probably what I would do. I get the argument for Hakeem. I really do. But as much Kareem as I got to watch, I lean that way.
I feel that.
That's where I lean.
I feel that. It's hard to argue that. I mean, what he did in high school, being from New York, Lou Alcindor, then going to UCLA, winning those championships with John Wooden, and yeah, his NBA career, he was second in points scored, all those titles. I think Kareem has 6. That 6 seems right. 5 with the Lakers, 1 with Milwaukee.
You're right.
So yeah, he has 6 there.
Mm-hmm.
I might be Dream Shaq than Kareem.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, I'm with you. Kareem, the skyhook, everything he did in the game. And he was classy last night. He is an odd guy, but he was classy.
He did.
I wish that they would have had all that extravaganza stuff at the end of the game, though.
Now, somebody just texted us. They thought maybe wait the 30 seconds till the end of the quarter or whatever. They did just immediately stop the game. My gut was to go where you just went and say, wait a minute, don't we need to wait till this game's over? Then I thought, wait a minute. Let's think about these two teams and exactly where they are right now. These are two teams literally not in the playoffs right now, fighting for the ability to get into the play-in games. Maybe we did need to stop and do a quick ceremony. I could make the argument because it's the biggest thing of that night. With all due respect to Gilgeous-Alexander on the other side and to LeBron and his teammates, fellas, you are not the two most impactful teams in the West right now. This is the story. We got to go now. And those TNT people would say, what are you waiting on? They wouldn't want to wait the 30 seconds. Those producers and directors are thinking, we got to strike now. Because don't wait till it gets an hour and a half down the line. And the Lakers ended up losing.
Yeah.
So it fell flat. By the end of the night, I understood why they did what they did. Why they just went there.
Yeah.
But it was weird.
Point.
It was weird to stop the game right there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I just wish they would have went to Kareem, shook his hand, take a standing ovation, get back to the game, and then we could have acknowledged them at the end. Like the Spurs are really good at doing stuff like that.
Right.
Like when they have some type of event, which most likely it's probably hanging somebody's jersey in the rafters, they do it at the end of the game, and then everybody gets their flowers and people get to talk and stuff. So I would have preferred it that way. Like, let's continue the hoop, even though these guys aren't in the playoff contention. From 3 to 13, that you could be in and out the playoffs. It's like a 5-game span.
You're
From
right.
the Sacramento Kings to the Los Angeles Lakers, it's like 5 games out. So it's real tight-knit. It was a meaningful game for both teams, even though they're not very good. It was a fun night, though. Seeing Jay-Z, seeing LL Cool J,
That was cool.
seeing Jeannie Buss rubbing Dwayne Wade's shoulders, like all that stuff, just amazing.
They came back from a break and started showing famous people, and they were all rappers. And for a second, I thought, well, wait a minute, more than just rappers like LeBron. And then they started showing some other famous folks, but they just happened to show like 3 of the biggest rappers in the world. Boom, boom, boom. It was like Jay-Z. Was it Drake and somebody else?
No, Drake wasn't there. Drake had the little corny video
Drake did the
tribute
video
thing.
I like when Drake thinks he's funny.
That was awful.
I love when he thinks he's funny.
Yeah, I'm sure Savannah James would appreciate Drake having his broads say, "Congratulations, Bron." There was like 15 women. Say congratulations, ladies.
Man, that's a woman we do not see a ton of. At least I don't. Maybe she's on social media a lot or whatever.
Incredible.
Zay.
Yo,
she's
bro.
so pretty.
She's so bad. She's so bad. Oh my goodness.
Just, I mean,
elegant.
But I was gonna say one of those people that you can feel how they carry themselves through the television. Man, she's beautiful. And
by the way, if somebody on the Specs text line comes at me again, because I will talk highly of Bron, and I will hate on Mike at times, but I've never said I'd take Bron over Mike. I've never said that.
No,
ever.
No,
I've never said that.
You've said you'll take Pippen over both.
Yeah. I've never said that either. Well, but I do think Jordan fans can be ridiculous. I do think that.
Okay.
And very unrealistic.
Yeah.
Also.
That can
And
happen.
I do think LeBron fans could be that way too. But yeah, that's everybody on Spectators like, oh, man, just because somebody said they're cutting Lenny Wilkins has more wins than Phil Jackson doesn't mean he's a better coach. Like, what?
Now technically that would be true. Right?
Yeah. Okay. What?
I think we do know that.
I appreciate the passion though. I appreciate.
Yeah. Oh no, they're all fired
on the Specs
up. You know,
I appreciate it.
They get fired up. This says Savannah James is beautiful. Damn. Yeah, a Friday quality damn for her. This says glad I didn't watch. Definitely don't give a flying F about LeBron. Go Spurs, go. All right.
Yes.
Okay, Spurs fan. Jeez.
Yo, Spurs fan. The fact that LeBron and the Heat were able to beat that legendary team, like both of those teams, 2014 and 2013, were unbelievable. Like if we go down the list of some of my favorite teams to win a championship, that 2014 Spurs team is easily in there.
I think if you're in the state of Texas, there's 2 things of pride you take when we're thinking about LeBron. If you're a Mavs fan like me, you take pride in the fact that he didn't get started winning titles yet because of your team, because the Mavs stopped him that year. And if you're a Spurs fan, you take pride in the fact that y'all ran him out of Miami. You've ended that thing because they had the really close win in the Game 7. Hell of a series.
Yeah.
That's one of the best NBA finals I've probably seen.
Yeah, Chris Bosh, 0 points that game.
Yeah, but then the next year, the Spurs put a historic beating on that LeBron team, and then he went back to Cleveland. They ran him off.
Now, Spurs fans are going to hate this. Would that have happened if they didn't turn off the air conditioning and LeBron didn't go all Tyrese Hunter on them and just catch crazy cramps? And that series completely shifted after that.
I mean, I don't think you could have done much to swing that series.
Very true.
Dude, they beat them by like 15 or more in all but one of those games, I think.
Yeah,
they whipped them.
That was when we saw Kawhi Leonard kind of starting to become a superstar. Yeah. Timmy was still good on both sides. Tony Parker was still averaging 20 a game.
That should have been the start of the Kawhi Leonard thing too. That's where it should have started. It should have been the beginning of it. I'm speaking as, I'll speak for Spurs fans here. That's what they were thinking when they saw that 2014 team. Here's the next guy to take the baton. We're going to go from David to Tim to this kid. And then it didn't happen.
Couldn't do it.
Nah, it didn't happen. LeBron gets the record. Let us know what you think of that. There's all kinds of angles on that story. Somebody says, as a lifelong Cowboys fan, I hated stopping the game when Emmett broke Peyton's record. Pause, recognize, and move on. But, yeah, isn't that what they did last night? They didn't give him an award. They stopped. He said what he said. He and Kareem, they gave him
just long as hell.
The ceremonial basketball.
It took a hot minute.
Yeah, I guess it did take a little while. LeBron breaking the record, definitely on the board today. Also, we got a little Longhorn football news. Let's get this in real quick before the break. Savion Red going to the running back rooms, eh? You're a Longhorn fan. Are you understanding this? You grasping this move?
Sure. I guess. I mean, oh boy, didn't get the ball at all this season, so can we say he was nice yards after catch? I don't think we can. We didn't really see it. I mean, he was just a freshman coming out of Grand Prairie, 3-star player, still has a lot of potential. If this coaching staff sees something, which they obviously do, the wide receiver room is already thick. Now he's just going to go to a thick ass running back room.
Right.
I don't know if that's bad news to like where Cedric Baxter or Jonathan Brooks, Keelan Robinson, Jaden Blue, if those guys aren't where this coaching staff thinks they should be and they have to bring Savion Red on some desperate-ish, I don't like that. Hopefully it's just this guy could be another Swiss Army knife guy. Maybe it could be a Ramont's Taylor situation. I'm thinking the best.
Yeah, it's weird. We were talking before the show. I haven't seen him enough at receiver to know what kind of running back he could be.
That's what I'm saying.
We're going to ask our guests today. We got Justin Wells, Inside Texas at 1, Chip Brown, Horns247.com at 2. We'll ask them both about Red as a running back. How do they see it? We see him listed here at 5'10", 209. That I can conceive of that being a running back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we just got to see it work out. So on this team, where could you get more lost? At the back end of the running back room or the back end of the receiving room? Because now that you're bringing Jonte Cook in and you're hoping that, Nair and A.D. Mitchell and all that stacks up at the top of that group.
It's thick.
And then you mentioned the running back group where you already have Brooks and Keelan Robinson and who am I forgetting? Blue. And now you're adding Baxter. And now he's at kind of the bottom of that group.
That's what I'm saying. That running back room and the wide receiver room, thicker than Cardi B booty.
My goodness. By
the way, I let me admit something because somebody called me out, and I am willing to admit. They said, Zay, you have no idea what you're talking about because you compare Tyrese Hunter to TJ Ford. First of all, I said,
be careful. Go ahead.
First of all, I said it's Tyrese Hunter when you're drunk as hell.
You got to be drunk.
Squinting with one eye.
Yep.
Do about 18 360s.
And one leg, you said after
and
that.
And on one leg.
Yes.
Again, drunk as hell. Maybe on some of that Aaron Rodgers stuff that he's going to in the dark for 4 days. Maybe some of that.
And I think you said Tyrese Hunter has to do his hair exactly like TJ did.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And with the way Tyrese is blend, I was wrong. Love Tyrese. Plays hard. I was wrong. So I'll admit.
He'll admit it.
You went at me, somebody on Specs text line. I respect that. I'm not too proud to say I was wrong on that one.
There you go.
But I also did say you had to be drunk as hell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had to.
1 foot, 136. I didn't just say straight up.
It was qualified.
I didn't just say straight up.
I can vouch for that. All right, Longhorn fans, we also have a little basketball note to get to, not just the team itself, but a little note from the NBA involving a Longhorn. Also, we got to talk Super Bowl up next. It is the Eagles and the Chiefs. Who you got? I'll throw my pick out next, and we'll talk about that a little bit and some of the stories around the game. Coming up in the crap bag, a little more on LeBron, because there is only one that I can put over LeBron. No, not that discussion. A different discussion. That's coming up on the Horn. All right, this is Chad. Let's talk Apple Leasing. I love my car from Apple Leasing, and you will too, and you'll love the process. It's so simple. With the Easy Lease, it's the first time I've leased. It was never my thing, but once they explained to me how they do it, how it works, like, oh, that makes sense. I called with questions. I'm a details guy. I had all kinds of little questions about what happens at this point. What if I want this at this point? Well, how do you work this? How do you do this part of it? They answer all your questions. You just call 346-9977, and it's the easiest and safest way to get a new car. Here at the beginning of 2023, ask them about what kind of deals are available on 2022s if that's what you're looking for. It could be new. It could be new to you with a little bit of mileage on it. They have all the different options out there for you. They'll go dealership to dealership to dealership, so you don't have to. They'll get the discounts and incentives that the dealers do, but they will pass those savings to you. Keep the hassles for themselves. You're signing all the documents electronically. So simple. Call 346-9977. Did I mention they'll deliver it right to your driveway, just like they did for me? Yeah, they'll do that. 346-9977 or go to appleleasing.com. Oh, mercy. Come on now. SRV. There's just only one man that plays like that and sings like that. Rest in peace.
Off the classic Texas Flood album.
All right, this one is, I forget what this one's called. Tell me the name of this one.
I'm Crying.
I'm Crying. That's right. Man, Stevie. I've seen a whole lot of acts live, and including Stevie. I'd trade in 8 to 10 of the others. If you let me pick, I'd trade in 8 to 10 of the others as long as I could have Stevie and get another one. I only saw him one time, but he was bad. He was badass.
You still alive?
No. 1989 or 90.
Damn.
Helicopter crash.
Oh.
Killed him. Killed his agent at the time. In fact, we just had the Grammys. It was right before the Grammys, if I go double check the date, I believe, because the next Grammys, they kind of paid tribute to everybody. It was a famous agent that died, Stevie, and then one or two others. I think everyone in the helicopter died.
That's sad.
Oh, it was awful. Oh, it was terrible, man. He was just taking off. I don't mean that I didn't mean to make that reference. His career was really just getting going. And what's the album with If the House Is a Rockin' had just hit. Step by step, in step had just hit, and that's when I saw him at the Cotton Bowl opening for the Who. I mean, he was on the way up, and then oh god, and then he died. It was so sad. The album with Jimmy that came out after he died was incredible. Sky is Crying, I guess, technically came out after he died. Check out some Stevie Ray Vaughan if you have not. Good Lord, SRV. Unbelievable. All right, we start this Wednesday before the Super Bowl with some LeBron discussion because he gets the record from Kareem. More on that coming up in the crap bag. People have their thoughts on how things were laid out last night. Our man Cameron Parker just stopped by as an Oklahoma City Thunder fan and said said he wanted his team to, be able to play again, but I think deep down, he understood why maybe they stopped the game. But there were a lot of people trying to figure out, kind of how they should be doing that. We'll get into some Super Bowl discussion as we go along. Also, we've got Justin Wells coming up at 1:05 Inside Texas to talk about Savion Red. Before we get into Super Bowl stuff, Zay, we have multiple listeners on the text line reminding us Savion Red, one listener says he was recruited as an athlete and played some quarterback in high school.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize he was that versatile. Somebody else says Savion Red was Roshan Light in high school.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So
I'll take that.
Yeah, and of the two, obviously, to me these days, two positions we've seen that can get a little malleable if you do it right, receiver and running back.
For sure.
We've watched it. Kyle Shanahan knows how to deal with those things.
Absolutely.
What we need is, the problem is, Steve Sarkisian has shown us so far that at Texas, not the Alabama version, at Texas, he will pick a receiver that he thinks can be effective, throw bombs to that guy until everybody passes out, and then he might think a running back deserves some carries, and he'll give him carries after he doesn't give him enough carries. He'll give him enough carries in a game or two, and then it'll just be inconsistent. That so far is what he's done with those two positions.
Yeah, and he's also had a bad feel for the game. Sometimes you got to, whatever the game plan is, and the defense stops that, especially in the second half. We saw multiple times this past season, just the second half woes. They'll put up 30-something points in the first half. Second half comes around, and they'll put up 6s and 3s, and you're like, where the hell did the offense go?
Mm-hmm.
And that's because the other coach on the other side, defensive coordinator, they made adjustments, and Steve Sarkisian, just not being able to fill out the game, had a horrible time countering to those adjustments. So to what you're saying, Chad, just not, focusing on one guy too much, not letting everyone eat. And that's why having the depth at running back, having the depth at wide receiver, hopefully somebody could step up like a A.D. Mitchell. Hopefully Jordan Whittington could be utilized a lot more than we saw this past season. Hopefully Quinn Ewers and Xavier Worthy. We had Cam on yesterday. Cam made a great point that Xavier Worthy, with all these guys coming back, these bigger guys like an Isaiah Neyor and A.D. Mitchell coming along, and adding a Jonte Cook, it allows Xavier Worthy to do different things, and he might not go for those 20-plus yard deep route passes that they were so just unsuccessful this past season. So I we'll see if the move works. And yeah, I don't really know what to say to that. We didn't see Savion Red with the ball enough to, give a true opinion on if it's going to work or not. Just gotta, hope and pray. You're a Horns fan.
Yeah, Specs text line is 337-3776. One fan says, my man needs to worry less about his outfit and more on game plan.
Damn,
all right, okay.
damn.
All right, look, jeez.
Yo, that's cold.
That is.
That's cold. But that's his wife, though. If you have a beautiful woman like that, you got to look good.
Yeah.
He has no choice but to look good. You see that woman?
And not just a beautiful woman that is really into fashion.
For sure.
She's the combo. She's like a lot of these basketball players that we'll see walking into arenas in these badass suits and stuff, or even draft night or whatever. A, you've got the fashion sense in your brain somewhere, and B, you've got that body to hang it on.
That's right.
That's a deadly combo. So there's no way Steve Sarkisian is going into. He's not going to be walking in just wearing like a quarter zip with the Longhorn logo. That's just not going to work. She's not going to allow that. But Savion Red to the running back room. We hope that works really well for the Longhorns and Savion. We'll see how that works, and we'll get our insiders' thoughts on that today.
I hope Sark's taking a couple of anger management classes after the incident in the Alamo Bowl, though. Just a couple. He don't need much. He don't need like a full month or so. Just a couple. Just to where I get it. We're intense. We're trying to get our team intense, but we saw the Alamo Bowl, still unacceptable.
Because it happened when it did, do you think somebody is going to ask him that question at some point?
Probably not. I think it's over with.
Like the if it had happened game 4 or 5, maybe. But since it happened when it did, it just goes away?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's funny to me.
It goes away until there's another.
Yeah, I'm really joking about the anger management thing, but still, it was weird. It's a joke. We shouldn't be doing that. But, I don't think it's that serious.
I agree with you. I don't think ultimately it's that serious, but it's all a matter of how many of them are there. That's the issue.
Right.
Because with Tom Herman, it built up to where there were 3 or 4 of those, and you went, dude, So I've called it conduct unbecoming the Texas head coach since I saw that moment, just like all the Tom moments. One of them doesn't mean you're gone. 3 or 4 of them does.
For sure.
3 or 4 of them does. And then eventually they'll realize, no, that doesn't work. Yeah, he can't have that type of moment happen again. You got to keep that under control.
With this roster and with this schedule, like not winning 9 games, unacceptable.
Well, that's got to be
that's
the mark.
To me, not going to the Big 12 championship, unacceptable. So if those things happen, then people are going to go back to, well, is he worried about his anger, or is he back on the who knows what, his past, demons? Has he gone back to those types of things? And people are going to be talking about his wardrobe and stuff. People are going to find stuff to nitpick on. And hey, if you don't go 9+ wins / Big 12 title, I think that's accurate.
Somebody texted in, winning games sure does look damn good, and someone else thinks Quinn Ewers needs to shave. There's a lot going on in the offseason with Longhorn fans.
Shave what, the head or the beard?
Shave the beard, not the hair. Yeah, the beard's bugging him a little bit. They think he needs to go clean shaven, I guess. That way it'll, everything will be.
I mean, it's not traditional
nice
quarterback face.
Nice and I don't know. They're just maybe try to change it up a little bit. Change up on those deep balls.
What elite quarterback right now has the scruff? I can't name one. The most I can think of is Jalen Hurts goatee, and we could argue if he's an elite quarterback or not.
Mahomes will rock a little bit. Both these guys in the Super Bowl rock a little, won't they?
Mahomes has like that bad
peach
puberty,
fuzz?
Puberty.
Yeah.
Peach fuzz hair.
Jalen Hurts does, because Jalen Hurts, somebody said, looks like the V for Vendetta, that mask thing with the mustache.
Yeah, sometimes he looks like a fake person. Like, dog, you can't be this smooth.
He really,
you can't. This don't make no sense. You can't be this smooth.
He's kind of like his face. Sometimes, to me, it almost has a Zach Wilson quality to it. The kid in the jet with the Jets,
right?
That kid to me sometimes looks like a doll, and that's what Jalen Hurts. I'm like, dude, can you be that handsome? What are you doing? How can you be? And everything just looks so perfect sometimes.
Yeah, Zach Wilson looks like the Disney movie D-Bag. Like always the villain that's just like harasses the main character's girl or something, and the main character just punches him in the face at the end of the movie and everybody gives him a standing ovation. That's Zach Wilson.
Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. That's him? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Real quick before this break, I said I'd throw my prediction out, so we'll do it. I'm wearing the now 20-year-old 20-year-old sweatshirt from the Bucs winning Super Bowl 37. And 20 years ago, people thought the offense on the other side was going to be a little bit too much. The Bucs defense was better. Now, that Bucs defense is better than this Eagles defense, but I think it's the Eagles defense that will win the game, and I think this Eagles offense is better than what the Bucs had that year. I mean, that was Brad Johnson. It was Michael Pittman. I'm old enough now that Michael Pittman Jr. is in the league.
My guy Mike Allstock.
I mean, you had Allstock,
come on, baby,
Keyshawn and Jared Vicious and stuff. I'm not saying it was a bad offense. It was a good offense. I would put this one maybe a step above it when it's on and when it's rolling. I think they're going to control time of possession. I think they're going to block and tackle the hell out of the Chiefs. I hope I am wrong. Mr. Mahomes, Mr. Kelsey, please use this as fuel to beat these Eagles. I got Philly 37-20.
Okay.
I think by the end, it is not going to be close, and the time of possession will be silly. They're going to run the ball like crazy, and I think the Chiefs are going to get worn out. Won't look exactly like when the Bucs beat them because they didn't score much that night. I think they'll score a little more than that, but I think the Eagles are going to outlast them.
Yeah, it's going to be a hell of a game, both number one seeds. This is what we wanted. I mean, if you're just a football fan and you don't have a dog in the fight, this is what you want. You want a competitive battle, and I think that's what we're going to see. For me, it's going to be that offensive line for the Chiefs versus that really good pass rush for the Eagles. 70-plus sacks. All those guys are dogs, man. Reddick, Fletcher Cox, Hargrave, Brandon Graham, Sweat. Then you got Sue basically coming off the bench, and then Robert Quinn, like, hey, you ready to play, bro? Like, all those guys they interchange, which keeps them fresh.
The fact that you lose Sweat and Sue when you think about those guys, like, you almost forget about them.
You forget.
Like, oh, yeah, that's right. Sweat's on this team.
Like, Sue made a huge play against the 49ers.
Yeah, that was a great play.
So it's anybody could step up, and again, it just keeps all of those guys fresh, so they keep coming at you. So the Chiefs, they've been relatively good at keeping Patrick Mahomes safe. They're third in all of the NFL in allowing sacks with 26 this year. But a lot of that goes to Patrick Mahomes being mobile and getting out of those situations and seeing the blitz and making those reads, which he'll still be able to have that. But how much has his ankle healed in the last 2 weeks? We saw he could play with it against the Bengals, but the Bengals defense ain't the Eagles defense. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing that matchup, and it's going to be a fun one.
Super Bowl 57 coming up. We're going to talk more about that as we roll along. And also, we remind you that our big game coverage is brought to you by Texas Truck and Trailer. I'm going to try to reach out to our guy at Texas Truck and Trailer. He's a big Chiefs fan. He's like me. He's rooting for the Chiefs. We're going to see if we can get him on the show maybe tomorrow to talk about it. Coming up at 1:05, let's talk more about this Savion Red to running back situation. Justin Wells of Inside Texas will give you his thoughts on that. Plus, we have not spoken with Justin since the young man from Red Oak decided to rip that purple jacket off and show us that he was wearing burnt orange. Warren Roberson, what does Justin think of him? We'll find out at 1:05. Up next, though, in the crap bag, let's talk a little bit more about LeBron passing Kareem, a couple of crazy stats, and a question for all of you, because I don't think there are that many athletes on the list I'm thinking of. We'll talk about it on the Horn. Oh, that is a wonderfully crunchy bass there. I'm sorry, I interrupted. Uh-huh. I feel like I should know this.
I think you should.
It's a group or an individual?
Group.
Okay. Man. Oh, man. Yeah, this is a little corner of the metal world or hard rock world that... Thin Lizzy. I don't know.
Queen.
That's Queen?
That's Queen.
What's
Fight
this?
from the inside.
Wow.
Fight from the inside.
That does not sound like Freddie. Okay. Queen and SRV getting us started today. What a showman. What a showman that Freddie Mercury was. That's a band I wish I could go back and see. Just pick some tour. Go see Freddie one time, man. What a freaking front man he was. God, that's one. And that was only, he died like the year after SRV. Somebody, our man Chris Bennett verified it was August of 90. Man. Is when Stevie Ray Vaughan died. So it would have been that next January, February, whatever on the Grammys is what I'm thinking of. I can still remember Paula Abdul being really devastated by that news because it may have been because of Stevie, but also the publicist or agent that was on that helicopter meant a lot to her. Oh. And there was a lot of people in that room. It was Stevie for those certain people, and then that was a horrible one, man. So we had a little Stevie Ray Vaughan to start, and Queen up next. We got Justin Wells coming at 105 from Inside Texas. Get his thoughts on Savion Red to running back for Texas. This Texas basketball team bouncing back from the loss at Kansas, and we'll ask him about Warren Roberson joining that 23 class for Texas. Right now, though, let's get back into a little LeBron discussion with a silly number and maybe a silly question in the crap bag. Here we go.
Chad's crap bag.
Crap bag. If you need an easy way to remember it, just think of a bag of crap.
It's brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. First off, the silly stat. LeBron James is now he already was this into last night, but he's the youngest player in league history to reach each of the 1,000-point milestones from 1,000 to 38,000. So just let that one marinate in. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and just on up. He's the youngest to hit every one of those marks in NBA history. He's now averaging a little over 30 points a game this season, so that also makes him the oldest player ever to average 30 points a game. It's absolutely silly. So he passes Kareem last night, and I thought when I died, there'd be two records in sports that would have never been touched. And we could think of some others if you want to throw them at us. 337-3776, Specs text line. I figured Kareem's record would still be there, and I thought the DiMaggio 56-game hit streak would always be there. And I think it will. I think when I die, that thing is still there, intact. And we could throw others out. Nolan's 7 no-hitters. I'm not sure anybody really ever touches that. They don't let pitchers go after no-hitters in the same way they used to. So maybe that changes. But those
Stockton's record. Assist record.
Stockton for assist. You think that lives forever?
Oh, yeah.
So there are certain records. Once LeBron finishes off, and this thing may go up over 40,000, it may become one of those records. So certainly congratulations to LeBron for passing that record. I cannot believe somebody passed Kareem. I'm 48, and this record almost lived with Kareem for 40 years. So that's how big a deal it was for last night. Here's my question on LeBron, though. Forget about the greatest of all time discussion. We can have that separately if you want. But there's only one athlete I can think of that I'd put above LeBron on this discussion. The athlete that was pumped up so much as a kid and then lived up to it and then some. The only guy I can think of is Tiger. Because Tiger was a child, like 2, when he went on that talk show, when he went on the Tonight Show. And then grew up, and it was expectation, and he lived up to it and then some. So even with a guy like a Michael Jordan, we know the famous story of he got cut from the JV team or whatever. Michael Jordan wasn't necessarily that when he's coming through high school. LeBron was on the cover of SI, Zay, in high school. And it is also fitting that I'm wearing this Buck sweatshirt today back from 03, because 03 is when it all started for LeBron 20 years ago. So to come through it like he has, and we talked about the little blips. Do you want to say that the decision was awkward? I got you. You want to talk about the whole China discussion and that he won't have it? I got you. Do you want to tell me that sometimes he feels a little disingenuous? I get it. I do. I feel that too. But full resume, full, playing resume, off the court resume, what he's done in his community resume, it is so impressive to me, and I'm not sure who else I could compare him to, Zay, other than Tiger. I don't know, Williams sisters maybe?
Yeah.
Like, so much pressure as a child. I heard him interviewed. They rolled back an interview from way back. Mike Tirico, a younger Mike Tirico, asked him, what's your biggest fear right now? And he said, not living up to others' expectations. And I thought, he's like 15 in that discussion. 16, whatever it was. That's his fear. I would have that fear too. And he lived up to it is an easy thing to say. And this is after Michael Jordan. This is after Kobe Bryant. And everybody's thinking, well, this is the next great thing. This is the next big deal. 4 titles. I know there's a unique way that he's done it. And you can have all your discussions about where it goes. But Zay, he's in a lot of people's all-time top 5. Is that fair?
Yeah.
All-time starting 5. If that's true, then it's one of the greatest careers you'll ever see based on the expectation level as a child. I can't think of many others.
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit bigger than Tiger just because it's one of the 4 big-time sports like hockey, football, baseball, basketball.
And tougher to do it in a team sport in a way,
right?
Maybe?
Yeah, Tiger made the game of golf big. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it was, he's big time in his own rights. But for what you're talking about, like as being a child and living up to expectations and stuff, like once Tiger won in '97 and the Masters, it really took off and everybody started playing golf and everybody started getting into it. But yeah, just the expectations Bron's had. And, I think he doesn't get counted for this enough, putting on his friends. Like big time jobs. Rich Paul's one of the biggest agents ever.
The community he's built around him.
Yeah, like Maverick Carter, what he's doing behind the scenes with just business stuff. Like these guys, they weren't Harvard guys. They didn't go to Ivy League schools and go to law schools and stuff. LeBron made them do certain things like that to give them game so they could be able to have these responsibilities and take on these jobs. But man, Rich Paul's with Adele, Chad.
Yeah,
LeBron got Rich Paul, one of his homies, with Adele just because of their status and what they've built.
Yeah, because he didn't do it. It wasn't like the MC Hammer thing where he was just trying to take care of everybody, but then they couldn't take care of themselves.
Yeah, he was like, I'm going to put you on, but you're going to make money for yourself and me.
Good point.
It's not one of those Ja Morant situations. Ja Morant's going through it right now. He got his homeboy kicked out of the FedEx Center because he's doing some wild stuff on the scenes. LeBron ain't never had to do that.
You're right.
Or worry about those issues.
Yeah, and there's things you can nitpick, but overall, it's such impressive stuff. Heck, last night, while Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was being his classy self, he commended LeBron for what LeBron's done away from the floor and said to him, it's probably more impressive than what he's done on the floor. That stopped me for a second. Like, wait, hold on. Kareem just said that? Out loud? Okay. All right. Obviously, and LeBron's done so much, but to hear Kareem say that, it really brings it home. It was a wild night last night. He is, I'll always say it, he's the most unique weapon I have ever seen in the NBA because at times he reminds me of 3 guys all at once, and this is hard to do. He reminds me of Magic, he reminds me of Michael, and he reminds me of Shawn Kemp in his prime. And those 3 things are hard to do because Shawn Kemp is my favorite tomahawk of all time.
Really?
I think when he was in his prime and he was doing those just punch nasty tomahawks, because when LeBron does that, my brain tells me, okay, that's not what Mike looked like dunking. And that's certainly not what Magic Johnson looked like driving. The drive is Magic. All the other tools are Mike, but the anger and the forcefulness and that tomahawk, that's what takes me to Seattle's the Seattle version of Shawn Kemp. He still reminds me of all three. It's crazy.
Yeah, and him being number one scorer of all time, a lot of people don't give him a credit as a scorer because him being so big and so strong, they think that that's such an advantage, especially during this era of basketball where you can't hand check or whatnot. You know, Jordan, he wasn't the biggest guy compared to LeBron. Neither was Kobe. Neither was Durant, which, for me, those are the first three scorers I think of when I think of an NBA scorer. Those three guys, and now Bron. But saying that, at this point, I feel ignorant. I feel ignorant for saying a guy for 20 straight years who's now in his 20th season is averaging 30 and his points per game through 20 years have been 27.
It's not much of a scorer, Zay.
Not much of a freaking score.
I need to see more scoring. I really do. Before I give you your credit.
He hasn't proved anything to me. Like, he just shot from the logo, Zay. Nah, I don't see it. But Zay, he's hit a whole bunch of clutch shots, and he just hit a fadeaway to put him as the leading scorer of all time. Yeah, but still, it's not a scorer in my eyes.
He hit the dirt jumper, basically, to finish it. That was basically what that shot was.
Yeah, he just keeps adding different parts of his game to get better. Like, even though his athleticism has declined a little bit, which he might be the most gifted athlete of all time, so him as an athlete declining
still
at 20, it's still better than
90%
of the league. He still added like fadeaway jumper and a post game and a 3-point shot throughout the years, and just incredible.
Here's the other one real quick, a contrast stat I saw. So LeBron is 9th all time in 3-pointers made. He did this in 150 fewer games than Kareem, and this is probably one of the big reasons why. He's 9th all time in 3-pointers made. Kareem hit 1 his whole career.
Yeah.
So huge contrast there. So that's why Kareem had to put in all those extra miles and log all that extra time, because it wasn't just that, it wasn't just that he's not hitting the threes. He wasn't taking them. He only hit 1 his entire career. But the fact that LeBron is top 10 there, and you mentioned, 4th in assists?
Yes.
And when he's done, where he'll be on all those different lists, that is why I keep saying the most versatile NBA weapon we have ever seen. Nobody will have done all of that the way he did when he's done.
Yeah.
That one I think we can all probably agree on as basketball fans. You can talk about the greatest of all time all you want, and we'll figure all that out. And he wouldn't be mine, if you want me on the official record. He would not be my GOAT right now. But most versatile across all categories is probably him. It's probably him.
One thing that he does have in common with Michael, they're both pretty bad GMs.
By the way, I also agree with this assessment, and my man Kevin Dunn, I'll give him credit for this. Kevin always said he'd pick Michael over LeBron as a basketball player because of how much better LeBron is as a person. Like, he knows Michael is such a bad guy in certain ways.
He respects that.
He's so viciously evil, and he's so competitive, and we all watched it in The Last Dance. That's why he said, because Mike's got a killer instinct that LeBron thankfully doesn't have.
Yeah.
Because LeBron's a better human being than Michael is.
Yes.
That's the way Kevin always broke it down. I always thought that was a pretty good assessment.
Oh, yeah. That's the same thing with Kobe. Like, Kobe was an a-hole. Like, come on. Kobe and Jordan, but people love that.
Yeah, the Mamba.
Like, I love that about them.
The Mamba mentality does not have rainbow colors on it, and it does not just walk around and smile a lot. No, that's nasty stuff. All right, there's your crap bag. We do it at 12:45 every day. Let's get to Justin Wells of Inside Texas. Savion Red to running back. What does he think of it? And some other recruiting news, Longhorn stuff, and maybe talk a little NFL. We'll get his prediction on the Super Bowl as well. Next on the Horn. All right, how about hour number 2 on this Wednesday? We're cooking towards the Super Bowl with the Eagles and the Chiefs. If you want to give us some thoughts, you can. We're definitely going to get our next guest thoughts, and we'll throughout the week of Super Bowl predictions. Also, we've been talking basketball. LeBron passes Kareem. We'll get into some basketball in the flex segment at 1:30 because they saw Westlake avenge an earlier loss last night. He'll give you some thoughts on that. Also, we got some Longhorn stuff to talk about. Let's go to the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline and have our weekly Wednesday conversation with Justin Wells of Inside Texas on 3.com. He's at Justin Wells 2424 on Twitter as well. Justin, how you doing this fine Wednesday?
Gentlemen, I'm doing well. It's still wet and rainy here in East Texas. Lots of rain, so I know that's something we need. And now we got a little bit of a cool breeze coming through. So it's early February weather, right on par.
Yeah, there you go. Getting just about in time for the Super Bowl. We'll get that pick from you before we're done. But I want to start with the latest recruiting news for Texas. As a guy born and raised in Waxahachie, I kind of like the fact that people are saying Red Oak right now. I'm familiar with the area very much and that little community right outside of Waxahachie. So give me a thought here on Warren Roberson. Obviously, he does the flip with the purple jacket rip off and all that. I'm sure Longhorn fans kind of enjoyed that one, but what type of defensive back are they getting here? This is obviously a room that has been pretty talented lately. How does Warren add to it?
You know, the funny thing about Red Oak is that when I left yesterday morning after speaking with Warren and a number of players, they have a ton of talent coming up. I'm talking about legitimate guys for 2025 and 2026. They even have a handful of 2024s with double-digit offers. Red Oak is on the way up. They have some really good players, and Warren Roberson was the best. He was their leader. He was their hardest worker, competes on the football field, competes in track and field. Warren Roberson is the type of safety. He's kind of a throwback of sorts. He's the type that used to earhole people, headhunter, take your head off. That's kind of his mentality, the old school safety that we all grew up and loved. That's Warren Roberson. This kid plays with an edge, okay? He plays with a chip on his shoulders. This is a kid that when I asked him about, making his big decision, the 6-foot, 180-pounder on-3 consensus 4-star basically said, I had to pray, and then I fasted, and then I had to pray some more, and then I fasted more. I wanted to make sure I made the right decision. And at the end of the day, he felt like Texas was the best move for him. They only brought one safety in the 2023 cycle, Derek Williams out of Westgate down in New Iberia, Louisiana. The Raptor, one of the best safeties in the country, is going to be on campus, and now you have Roberson that's going to be right beside him. And I got to tell you, Texas needed an athlete, a joltage of athletes at safety. They're really solid at all the other positions, but they needed to upgrade that back end a little bit. Derek Williams and Warren Roberson are the prototypes for doing that. Roberson's he's a good kid. I got to catch up with his family, catch up with some of his coaches yesterday. This is when your leader is the hardest worker. That's a great sign of an up and coming program. And I think Roberson is just the beginning. You're going to see a lot of kids coming out of Red Oak in the next few years with Texas already on the radar. From a Taz Williams, 2025 receiver, Cam Morgan, 2025 edge, Braden Robinson, 2026 running back, / wide receiver. They've got some guys, and Warren Roberson is probably the cream of the crop. Texas did a great job, but at the end of the day, Austin was just more appealing and a better fit for him than Fort Worth and TCU.
All right.
Yeah, gotta love the flip. And man, Justin, Red Oak coming up. We saw South Oak Cliff and Duncanville and DeSoto did winning state championships. Those South Dallas schools are definitely representing. But let me ask you this about Savion Red. He's moving from wide receiver to running back. And, we just really didn't see the ball in his hands much this past season. So I don't really know how to look at it. Let us know, how do you think it's going to work and why Sark and his coaching staff made that decision?
I think it's one of those, a lot of factors had to go into this. One, I think they wanted an extra running back in the spring, and they needed not just a tailback, not just not just a regular tailback, a guy that can get between the tackles. Savion Red played quarterback in high school, and his if you read his stats, he had passing yardage, rushing yardage and receiving yardage. Don't tell me how that worked, but that's the type of athlete Savion Red is. You watched him 2 weeks ago, but Deebo Samuel is the prototype. That's exactly what Savion looked like him in college. And Savion's got the body type to be able to do that, to bust through some tackles. He reminds me of a little bit taller Hodges Mitchell. We're going to see how good his feet are, but he's got those thick legs, and he's got the vision, and he's got the athleticism. And I think if you brought in a DeAndre Moore and a Jonte Cook, those guys are going to play early, especially Jonte. And so I think this actually helps Savion on the depth chart as well, because, Jonathan Brooks will probably come in as the incumbent one. Cedric Baxter's certainly going to be in the conversation along with Keelan Robinson, but that's not a position that's nailed down right now. There's some, for the first time in 3 years, there's some question marks there on who's going to be the guy. And so I think Savion's going to be able to get the spring to try to figure that out. Kind of bolsters the running back room a little bit. I think it allows a Jonte Cook to get more reps on the inside at receiver this spring. And so I think it's one of those moves that kind of benefits everybody around. And I'll say this again. Savion Red was an incredible dual threat quarterback in high school at South Grand Prairie. And those skills, it's very similar. My man Ian Boyd at Inside Texas, he's our X's and O's guru. He made an interesting comp. He said, Justin, if you watch this Savion Red's high school tape and this other guy's high school tape, it's almost identical. The running styles, passing styles, everything. And that was Rashawn Johnson. So we've seen this move before. Now that's a lot of pads to carry when you're trying to come in there and do that. But it's the same type of player. It's the same type of athlete. And if Texas can benefit the same way they did from moving Rashawn to the backfield, this is a win-win across the board.
Jay Wells, what's the word on winter workouts? Is anybody stepping up? I know we talked to you about it a couple of weeks ago, but now we're even more weeks in. The spring game is right around the corner. What's it looking like? What are you hearing? Word of mouth type of stuff on who looks good and, who could be a huge contributor to 2023 season?
It's still early. I believe they're going through a lot of the install phase this week. And so there's really nothing when it comes to depth charts and things of that sort. It's essentially the underwear Olympics right now. And so what you do see, I like the videos that the Texas football Instagram and Twitter accounts post. Kind of gives you an idea. And if you've ever noticed the guys that are like drenched in sweat, and then you notice a guy that shirt's not that drenched in sweat, and you're thinking, okay, one of them's over here working. I wonder what this other one's doing. And I said that because I think a few players have had their video shown, and they've gotten razzed by teammates for not looking like they're working as hard as they should be. But it's early February. There's just not a lot to glean. The biggest factor right now is establishing leadership in that locker room. And we talked about that a couple weeks ago. It's got to happen organically. You want a guy like a Jalen Ford to step up and take that, or a Jaron Thompson. Ideally, you'd love a Quinn Ewers to do that. And the fact that he's dropped weight, he's gotten better shape, he's worked on his mechanics, he's worked on his footwork. He's having, he's throwing the ball with guys, bringing them to the stadium, doing the same thing Arch Manning's doing with some of the guys at the bubble, just bringing them out for some passing. That's really what you want at this stage. Now, in the next few weeks, the team stuff it's going to start to get a little more amped up, leading into early March. But right now, there's just not a ton to glean other than you've got a few guys that could potentially be stepping up in a leadership role. And it's going to be interesting to see who kind of takes that mantle, because as we've seen in the past, the best Texas Longhorn teams we've seen or covered are the ones that have the most established leaders, and their leaders are generally their better players. And so that's why I think spring is going to be so big. I believe Joe Cook posted a story yesterday about all the returning production Texas has, which is incredible. And when you look at it from a nationwide scale, you need to check that story out at InsideTexas.com. But just know Texas has a lot of horses coming back, and they have a lot of experience. And the fact that Quinn Ewers finally got to play a year of football for the first time in 2 years is going to benefit them more in 2023 than maybe anything else. So from the team side, it's still relatively quiet, still trying to find a leader, and the guys are kind of feeling each other out. There's a whole bunch of new guys on campus, fellas. You got 4 transfers. You've got almost a dozen early enrollees. A lot of new faces trying to get in the mix.
Talking with Justin Wells. All right, Justin, let's get some of your Dallas team feelings here. Zay wants to talk to you about Kyrie Irving, but you're also a Cowboys fan. Let's talk about that offense. Mike McCarthy's going to call plays. Brian Schottenheimer is the new offensive coordinator. Your thoughts?
I'm indifferent. I mean, if you hire an offensive coordinator that is there in title only, I don't see the benefit. I just don't. Now, Mike McCarthy may be an excellent play caller, and we saw some stretches last year where he really did. He did it. You know, I felt like him and Kellen kind of went back and forth with it. But, you know, this is to me is McCarthy saying, you know what, I have to be accountable for this. The onus comes on me. We can't go to the playoffs again and lose again like they did. And again, that's what we've seen the last 2 seasons. And so maybe this is Mike trying to shake it up. Brian Schottenheimer, I mean, the first thing I think of is Marty Schottenheimer, the legendary coach from the Cleveland Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs. If he's really as good as his older brother, I think it's a home run. But the thing is, he's not calling plays, so I just don't see it making that big of a difference. You know what's going to make a difference? If they re-sign Tony Pollard. You know what's going to make a difference?
Right.
If they draft an offensive tackle in the first or in an early round to kind of shore up the O-line a little bit. To me, those are going to be the moves in the offseason that really move the needle, not hiring a offensive coordinator by title only.
It's fair.
All right, Jay Wells, I know you're a Mavs fan. Kyrie Irving is on the
Dang it.
squad now.
Come on.
Just like that?
Okay. I'll be honest. It took me back a little bit. I'm not surprised they made the move. We'd heard rumblings that it could happen. I just don't believe it was actually going to happen. It took me a few days to process this, Zay. And I'm still sort of in the processing process. but you know, I want to see them on the floor together. I want to see how they'll work. I'll tell you this, you know, I'm not a big fan of Draymond Green. He runs his mouth too much. He's a cheap shot artist on the floor, and it kind of masks a really good basketball player when he does that silly stuff. He said something really interesting the other day after the trade. He said it actually kind of scares some teams because Luka is so good at creating the shot, and Kyrie is a really good spot-up shooter. Now, a lot of people, they know Kyrie Irving is probably one of the best ball handlers in the NBA, if not the best. Definitely a creator and can score off the dribble, get to the basket. But what Kyrie's coming is the only question here. Is it the Kyrie from the Cleveland Cavaliers, or is it the Kyrie from the last 2 teams he's been at? And I think, you know, Kyrie's in a position where he wants that contract renewed one more time. He wants that max deal one more time. And the only way he approaches that, the only way he gets an extension is if this works out with Luka. And if it doesn't, Dallas can cut bait in a year and a half and have a supermax space open for free agency. And I hate that they had to give up Dorian Finney-Smith. That kid was a great Maverick, drafted, developed, did a lot of good things. I kind of wish Tim Hardaway Jr. was in that trade because now I don't think he has a position. The defense is only going to get worse, but I think they pretty much punted on defense a few months ago anyway. With the duo of Luka and Christian Wood doing most of the damage on the offensive floor. Listen, the NBA is wide open right now, especially the Western Conference. It is anybody's conference. So this is the time for somebody to make a move. If Kyrie can get back to a little bit of what he was a few years ago, which is one of the best basketball players on the planet, and he meshes with Luka, this is a win-win for everyone because him, Luka, and Christian Wood is a really good trio you can take in on the road when you hit the playoffs. And that's the most important thing. Dallas was in the Western Conference Finals last year, took Golden State 6 with Doncic, Jalen Brunson, and a bunch of cast-offs. I essentially feel like if Kyrie can just feel the Jalen Brunson's part. Now, he's not going to be the leader or the gritty, tough-minded guy that Brunson is. You know, he's not going to bring that, but he brings a whole different skill set. And if you can just pull that out of him, and Jason Kidd might be the guy to do that, might be the point guard in an offensive-centric program and team to kind of find the best niche for him. And you just hope it works out, because you've got Luka Doncic, and I know he's 23 years old, and I know he's got a 4 or 5 year extension, but you've got to make sure you keep that guy happy, because I believe he's going to have Dirk status in Dallas by the time he's done, especially if Cuban does what he does, and that's keep his guys there. But at the end of the day, I'm okay with this trade. I like that they really only gave up a first in 2029. By that time, there's no telling what the NBA will look like. Huh. And so I think it's kind of a win-win on both ends. It just all depends on Kyrie. I think Luka's easy to get along with. I think Jason Kidd and this team, they really like each other. There's a good chemistry. They've got good youth in Josh Green and Jalen Green. And so, Jaden Hardy, excuse me. And so they've got some guys there. It all depends on Kyrie. If he brings his mind right, Dallas might get back to the Western Conference Finals this year.
Be careful, Jay Wells, because Jason Kidd, he's already off to a weird start and said that, yeah, we got the best ball handler in the league, and Luka and Kyrie's a second. So we know Kyrie could get in his feelings when you talk down on him. He might take that the wrong way, and who knows what? We've seen it too many times. Who knows what?
See, Kyrie brings out kind of emotion from people. You gotta reevaluate yourself as a player. When people start talking to you and their tone starts rising with every sentence. Kyrie brings that out of you, because I know you know ball very well, and you know how valuable Kyrie can be. This isn't a Rondo edition. This isn't some Deron Williams edition. This guy is one of the best ball handlers I have ever seen. He was a first overall pick after playing 10 games at Duke. This kid can ball. You just got to make sure he's in the right mindset, and you just hope and pray he doesn't warp the superstar that is Luka Doncic.
Yeah. All right, Justin, before we let you go, I know you're in the same camp I am as a Cowboys fan. You do not want these Eagles to win a Super Bowl, but do you think they are going to win a Super Bowl? What's your pick?
You know, the coolest thing is that it's 2 high school football quarterbacks. The second coolest thing is I covered both of them.
There you go.
The third coolest thing is I wrote recruiting stories about both of them and watched both in college and covered both in college. So I'm a little invested in this one. But like you said, you know, I'm a Cowboys fan, so there's zero chance in hell I'm rooting for Philadelphia. I live in Mahomes' hometown, and so obviously this is going to be a Patrick Mahomes-centered house on Sunday with red and gold. But I have to say, I feel like it's probably been Philadelphia all season. I get this feeling they have just looked the best, most consistent, most competent, most solid at the most positions. San Francisco may have a better roster, but I feel like the Eagles kind of had more of an edge. It's really going to come down to Hurts and Mahomes, because I don't know. I know the Eagles' defense is strong, but I also know Kansas City's more balanced now. They got rid of Tyreek Hill, and they became a more balanced offense. The offensive line is better now. The last time we saw Mahomes in a Super Bowl, he was playing behind a line of guys that worked at Brookshire's, and he paid for it. That's different. That's different now. I mean, that to me, that's a different factor. I think the Chiefs being there before gives them a little bit of an advantage as well. But I hate to say it, I think Philadelphia, it's been their year. I just think they've made the best moves in the offseason. The A.J. Brown trade was huge. Their offensive line is the best in the NFL. And if it ever comes down to 2 teams that are close, I pick the team with the best offensive line. I think Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the NFL, but Jalen Hurts is playing behind the best 5. I've got the Eagles winning it 35-30.
35-30.
Okay.
Yeah, just I do hope you are wrong, obviously, Justin, but I am with you. I'm picking the Eagles to win this game. Zay's going to make his pick at the latter part of the week, but we do appreciate it as always. That is Justin Wells, Inside Texas, on 3.com, at JustinWells2424 on Twitter. Justin, enjoy the Super Bowl, enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll hit you next week and talk all about it.
Y'all come see me at Inside Texas. Nothing but love, guys.
There you
Thanks,
go.
Jay Wells.
Good stuff on Warren Roberson, too. Interesting to hear that Red Oak has really got something going there. And Sounds like they got some serious talent coming up. Roberson listed as a 4-star.
Yeah.
Pretty much everywhere I see. I keep talking about it. People always make fun of my hometown because it's got a sort of a country vibe to it in some ways. But that stuff south of Dallas, you mentioned it earlier, man. That's DeSoto, Duncanville. You mentioned South Oak Cliff, and now if Red Oak's going to be that, and now I need my school to start paying attention because Waxahachie's been kind of lately,
Right.
but there's a potential in that area to have all kinds of talent.
We all know with like just the housing market nowadays, a lot of these families are being pushed out the inner city. So they're going to the suburbs like a Waxahachie and a Red Oak. And
Yeah.
we see here, all those just smaller schools, the LBJ be beaten by 80 and stuff like that. All those guys, they go out to Round Rock and go south to Kyle and San Marcos. So you're just going to continue to see that. And, that's the talent's just going to get better and better in those smaller country towns because those smaller country towns are growing like we see here with the Cedar Park Leanders and, the Wimberleys and San Marcoses. That's just what's going to keep on happening.
Yeah, another one of those communities growing a little bit's Buda. Buta's growing a little bit.
It's crazy.
You got to see that team last night. Let's talk old Buda, Johnson, and Westlake. Westlake lost to them once, but they weren't going to lose to them again. Flex segment coming up. We've got Where We At in Society with Zay coming up at 1:45. Also, we'll tell you about tonight's lineup on the station. We've rearranged a couple things. You're going to get a special edition of women's basketball tonight right here on the Horn. We'll set you up for all of that and let you know what else is coming. We hope you're having a great Wednesday. Check hornfm.com if you missed anything or if you want to get in on that Super Bowl contest because we got that going on as well for your big game festivities with the Eagles and the Chiefs. Stay with us. It's the Horn. Uh-oh. I think he's going back. I think I'm going to hear that voice again. I think. Yeah, I knew it. You got to know when you hear that guitar and then you hear that dude, it's got to be Accept,
baby.
And hang on, I've got it. It's You Will Remember Me. Man, you got to pay the Midnight Mover.
Midnight Mover, baby.
Woo! Come on. Man, one of my many regrets musically, never saw Accept live. I would have loved to have seen Udo and Accept. Udo, Dirk Schneider, the lead singer, legitimately was, I don't know, 5'4", 5'5", little bitty dude.
Like Devo?
But had that voice.
Like, what's his name?
Who, Ronnie James?
Isn't there another that's a little small?
Dio was a shorter guy, too.
Dio.
Dio, I think, was more like Dio was like Hakeem compared to Udo. Dio, I think, was like 5'7" or 5'8". Udo was a little bitty dude.
You know what I'm starting to notice?
But powerful.
When I'm starting to notice on these rock and metal songs,
yeah,
I like the crazy voice. Like, I know people are going to really get after me for this, but I like Rush.
Midnight Mover. Okay, there you go. Hey, dude, as long as you like the voice, that's what locks you into it. So there's some people, if you don't like the voice, it's tough to get in. But once you get in, see, like, some people could hear Udo's voice and hate it. I love it. Every time I hear it.
Yeah, it's a great voice.
It just makes me happy. Brian Johnson's voice from AC/DC, similar voice. Scratchy, screaming. Some people always say, oh, it's just a bunch of screaming, Chad. My kind of screaming. Lemmy from Motorhead. I love that stuff. I love it when there's a unique voice because nobody else sings like Udo does. That's what we loved about it back in the day.
Yeah, he did Midnight Mover.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That. Midnight Mover's a great track. A lot of people know Balls to the Wall, and Balls to the Wall is good. If you haven't been through the Accept catalog, go check it out.
What did we just play a few days ago? I played some Accept.
You did play Accept. You played, which one did you play? You didn't play Balls to the Wall. You played something else. But I can't remember which one you played. I love Princess of the Dawn is a great song from Accept back in the day. Accept, Queen, and SRV. Now, that's a good show right there. That's a good show. If I can get Udo, if I can get some Freddie Mercury in his prime, and I get Stevie Ray Vaughan, I'll go see that show. All right, let's get you a flex segment here. Zay got to see another good game. You want to see a good basketball game? You go to where Zay and Roger Wallace are going to be. Here we go.
Flex ATX for the best high school sports coverage. Listen to the Horn and go to FLXATX.com. Flex 30 is brought to you by Brain Vault. Brain Vault is a revolutionary and patented mouthguard that has been proven to help reduce the risk of concussion. Visit BrainVault.com and join the movement.
So, Zay, going into this game, there was revenge on Westlake's mind because Buda Johnson didn't just beat him down in Buda. They whipped him down in Buda. And what did it, like 70-40 or something silly like that?
Yeah, like 70 or
70-42,
something like that.
Yeah. So last night they were looking for revenge. They got it. It was a tight game though. Buda Johnson's a good team. Westlake was a little bit better.
Yeah, they were. I mean, Buda Johnson, shout out to Coach Kennison. They've been tough all year, and they play at a really fast pace. If you're not in shape, you're not conditioned, then they could blow you out of the water. And we know Coach Lucero being one of the best coaches in Central Texas and all of Texas, going to back-to-back state championships. And even though he hasn't gotten over the hump, he's had so many guys that he's put in D1. We see Brock Cunningham every time Texas plays. KJ Adams, you just saw him. So you know his team was going to be ready. And both of these teams fighting for first place, now tied. Westlake winning last night. Gavin Paul, the point guard, he was huge.
Oh, he was good last night.
He was good. Knocking down the jumper, just a couple of nice finishes in the lane. He had a spin move, Chad, where I get out of character way too many times. I'm glad Roger and KXAN, KBVO, they haven't emailed me, but like, Zay, you might have to settle down, but I do a lot of,
I was going to say, you've got basically a Ric Flair signature now because he had, you've got, That's
No,
what you do.
It just comes out naturally. I'm sorry if you don't think that's professional. My bad. But hey, that stuff just comes out of me when guys make moves like that. That was an incredible move. Great layup, left hand finish there. And then Blake Murray, he had a couple of big threes. Wonder Kahuzi, the big man down low. I thought he was tough and made life hard for Buda Johnson, which Westlake, they're so good at shooting from the outside. If you have somebody down low like a Wonder Kahuzi that, can make a couple of jump hooks and put pressure on you, on down low. And, that worries the guys for your defense in the perimeter. That worries, you're worried about closing out too hard. You're not worried about helping down low, which you should be because Kahozi, he had a good game last night.
Yeah, I liked him a lot too.
Yeah, number 30,
Yeah.
Isaiah Coe. I thought he was huge coming off the bench, had great passes, couple of and one finishes, and hit a three. So, yeah, right now, with Buda Johnson playing Lake Travis this week, that's going to be a huge game. But with how good Buda Johnson is, everybody has the green light. They just had a couple of missed opportunities last night, couple of turnovers, and then Quentin Hairston, the guy that's probably going to be first team all district in 26-6A, he went out with a knee injury. So hopefully he'll be okay in the playoffs. I know they want to win a district championship, but it's really all about how far you go in the playoffs. And if he's healthy, they should be good. But yeah, if he's not, that will be a huge issue for the Jags.
That injury did suck. Because was it Meary and Hairston that were going at each other until the injury?
They were going at it.
That looked like
chirping. I love that.
That looked like it was going to be fun for the whole game.
And shout out to the refs. They did a good job for letting them play last night. I don't think anybody, there weren't no crazy calls. They didn't make too many calls. They didn't get out of hand. They controlled the game. It was a good ref performance last night. I'm going to get after you.
I know.
If you muck up, I'm going to get after you. Please believe me. They did a good job last night. I like that crew.
So Gavin Paul is a junior for Westlake, and Kahozi is also a junior. So let me ask you about the senior. Blake Meary, who you were just talking about, number 24, is a senior. Do you see his game projecting to maybe the next level at some point?
Yeah, I think he's a college player, whether that's D3, that seems right. I know a couple of D2s are looking at him. He could definitely shoot it.
Okay.
But, he's going to have to put the ball on the deck.
Left-handed, right?
Yeah, lefty. He could definitely put the ball on the floor. He could fill it up. But, yeah, I'm looking around the D2, 3-3 area.
And were you able to get over to the Westlake gym, do your job professionally, and leave without being hassled by any Westlake people?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, very comfortable. Somebody from Buda Johnson saw me and shouted us out, listens to the show. So
there you go.
Appreciate y'all for that. And yeah, it was nice and smooth. They love me over there. They love me everywhere. As much as I talk about West, they still love me. They know it.
I tell you who ought to love you right now is KBVO, knowing they're going to get a good game every time. You and Roger are bringing the competition with you.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Shout out to Roger and those guys, KBVO, for picking good games. We're off next week, so we got the playoffs after that. I'm excited.
By the way, this sort of feels like a flex comment in a way. Somebody just texted in after hearing us discuss Warren Roberson that Waxahachie is now Red Oaks BL. See, that's rude. That's rude. There's no need. There's no need for that. But you might be right from what we're hearing about all that talent in Red Oak. My goodness. Come on, Hatchie. Let's get going now. All right. There's our flex segment. We do it every day at 1:30. Remember, go to FLXATX.com, at FLXATX on your socials. If you want to update information, games getting back to normal and normal scheduling. Obviously, we also continue to ask you to send us your videos. Badass basketball players, the wrestlers, soccer players, football players you think we need to see. The kids lifting weights, a lot of that is out there. They'll send those to Flex. So if you got some of that, you can let us know. We've had people sending us work in the cage. They're working in the cage in the cold weather, softball and baseball, all that. Get it to Flex ATX on your socials. Send those videos in. Derek told me the other day that they are getting some stuff in. We do appreciate that. Coming up next, where we at in society? Zay will let us know. And at 2:05, we check in with Chip Brown of Horns247.com. His thoughts on Savion Red going to the running back room. Don't move. It's the Horn. This is Chad. Let's talk a little sinus and snoring specialist. Hope you're sleeping well and feeling good. If not, you need something looked at, well, sinus and snoring specialist is the place. If you're snoring, if you think you might have sleep apnea, I had moderate obstructed sleep apnea. They can check you out in the office, obviously, but they also can send you home with a sleep test. You'll sleep in your bed, sleep in whatever position you want, and then they use that info to figure out what's going on with you. You don't want that sleep apnea to get worse because it can lead to other big issues. You got bad allergies, they can get rid of those for good, like they did with me. You got sinus issues, sinus infections and things. They can help you with that. They can even help you with stuff where you might be affected by something that's in your nose, but it's not something you're ultimately allergic to. That's the way it was with me, because I have a trouble with real Christmas trees, but it's not a legitimate allergy. I've got the mountain cedar allergy, but then some of those other Christmas trees can get me, so they're able to put those into the allergy drops. And over a 3-year period, I don't have to worry about the allergy stuff anymore. Don't have to worry about the pills, the sprays, or even those drops anymore. So call and set up your appointment. They'll explain all the different stuff they've got over there. 512-601-0303 or go to sinussnoringent.com. It's Sinus and Snoring Specialist. Feel clear, rested, and healthy. Oh, what a great start to a song. Oh, the horn work in this thing. That thing. Oh, so good. So good. All right. Is this called Thunder Boogie? Jungle Boogie.
Jungle Boogie.
Jungle Boogie, not Thunder Boogie. Jungle Boogie. Get up with the get down. Is this Earth, Wind, and Fire?
No, you're close. Cool in the Gang.
Gummit.
Oh, you know how many women were twerking on Bucky Gobbo during this time? Come on, man.
Good stuff. I always forget this is Cool in the Gang. Dude, you want to talk about a group that has a collection where you'll just know every song and realize that's Cool in the Gang? That's Cool in the Gang?
They had hits.
Dude, they were incredible. Incredible during that run. Late 70s into the 80s. Love Cool in the Gang. Celebration is probably their biggest hit, I'm guessing, of all time, because that thing blew up in the early 80s. But this kind of stuff, man, again, the horn section work from Cool in the Gang in this kind of stuff, incredible.
Yeah.
Love that stuff.
Oh, I would have thrived in the 70s. Soul Train era.
That would have been your time.
That would have been a time for me.
You would have been Don Cornelius, ready
Something.
to roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, Don was ready.
Yeah, charcoal Don Cornelius. Yeah.
Great voice. That always made me jealous. Like James Earl Jones as Darth Vader, that was a great, nice, low, bassy voice.
Right.
Every week when Soul Train would come on, it was like, oh, you didn't feel cool enough.
But then you go high with the, you got to have soul.
Oh, yeah, right. That's true.
Soul Train.
He could get up there. He had range is what he had. A lot of range. Cool in the Gang, except Queen and SRV. Now, they should have toured in the 80s. That would have been a great four-team bill. Send that to the stadiums. That would have been perfect. All right, a lot of stuff to get to. We've been talking, obviously, Super Bowl, getting you ready for that. More of that coming up. We got Justin Wells' Super Bowl pick. He's picking the Eagles just like I am, hoping the Chiefs win, but picking the Eagles. We'll see what Chip Brown of Horns247.com thinks of the game coming up at 2:05. Also, for you Longhorn fans, what does he think of Savion Red going to the running back room? And how does Chip think the Longhorn basketball team will react to the loss in Lawrence as they get ready for an early morning affair against West Virginia? This is like the football schedule from a couple years ago when you get those 11 o'clocks, 11 a.m. tip from the Moody Center against West Virginia. So not only do you have to deal with Bob Huggins' crew, you got to deal with them early, which I think isn't that what happened in Morgantown? Didn't they have to go early in Morgantown?
Do I
have, or maybe I have that
I feel
one.
like I was in the afternoon.
That may have been
game.
afternoon. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was tough.
Could be a tough one. Yeah, it's a tough team to deal with.
Yo, these next three games, West Virginia, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, if you're trying to get a number one seed, these are all must win.
Got to win them all.
All of them.
Yep, right. You can't slip. I agree. All right, let's get a little where are we at in society, see what Zay wants to get into today.
Where are we at in society today?
Mr. Collier, how are you?
I'm doing well. Go to Twitter chat and see this video. I briefly mentioned this. I think it went over your head because we were in the midst of the conversation. But last night, when LeBron went for Kareem's record and got it, TNT, you know, they were going around. It was a star-studded attendance, audience, LL Cool J, Hove, Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
But the B-roll went to Dwayne Wade. And Dwayne Wade is sitting in front of Los Angeles Laker and former model, keep that in mind, former model, Jeannie Buss.
Yes.
And it's odd. It's a 6-second clip, and she's like giving D-Wade a massage, and he's like directing her, like my neck. I need it in my neck too, but she's like rubbing this bag with the elbows, and it looks like she's going low too. And that's when the camera like panned out.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Chad, I've been on these airwaves, and I've said, Jeannie Buss, 91 Playboy spread, where she's at the Forum, butt-ass naked.
Mm-hmm.
It don't get much better. And Jeannie's still a baddie. She still looks good.
She does still look good.
Like Phil Jackson, the 11 rings that you won, I don't know if it touched that ring that you had with Jeannie, bruh, because she looks good. So I'm over here like, yo, D-Wade, how selfish and how, what's the word? Entitled's not it, but You got Gabrielle Union, bruh. Do you
Okay,
really
wait,
need this in your
all right,
life?
Wait a second. Hang on. Let's walk through this. No one is a bigger fan of Dwayne Wade's wife than me. But I don't think if I thought Gabrielle Union had something to worry about, I'd tell you. I think this is fine.
D Wade's cheated before.
I think this is an innocent situation. I think this is one of those, they know each other, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
There was a conversation going on, and there was some reference made to him, and, oh, yeah, something's tightened up or whatever, and I need a little massage. And she happened to be the one that was behind him, and I don't think it's a big deal.
See, Chad, you don't know Dwayne Wade's track record. Because it ain't like he's been faithful throughout their relationship. I think there was a point in time where he went old Ross from Friends and
He cheated on Gabrielle Union.
Yeah, but somebody was saying they weren't together at the time. But I think he has a baby with that woman he cheated on Gabrielle with.
Oh, okay. All right.
So now, seeing this video, does that change your thought? Like, Gabrielle, don't nothing to worry about. Obviously, there's something to worry about. He is an NBA player. I don't care who you're with. You're still an NBA player.
He is. That's fine. Yeah, it's true. And I don't know every little detail that's happened, but I don't know. My gut would tell me I don't think she has to worry about Jeannie
D-Wade,
Buss.
you should be ashamed of yourself. You greedy son of a bee.
Now, you've referenced Jeannie Buss and that she still looks good and that she did the Playboy spread or whatever. If Jeannie Buss were uglier, would this story be different to you?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot different.
I love life.
Yeah.
I love that life is like that, but I get that you may think that.
If Jeannie Buss was uglier, would D-Wade let her touch him? How about that?
You say, if Jeannie Buss was a 5, he would not let her touch him and massage him a little bit. Yeah, I didn't see anything too crazy there, but maybe Gabrielle Union did. You keep me updated on this story because I'm a big fan of Gabrielle Union.
Yeah, I love me some Gabrielle too.
And I'm also a big fan of the famous people, married to the famous people, making it work. I do not root for them to fail. I root for them to succeed, and I think they have an even tougher time than the half couples where only half is famous. Double famous couples, I think, are the toughest thing to keep together, so I want them to stay together. So keep me updated on this just in case somebody needs to, tell Jeannie Buss to stand down.
You know how much I'm working on my game, Jeannie Buss being in the facilities? I'm always working on my game. Zay was here at 2 a.m. working on his jump shot. Why was that? Oh, Jeannie was here. Oh, okay.
He thought they were going to do another Playboy photo shoot at 2 in the morning.
Check that out. That is life-changing.
Oh, my God. All right, so coming up, we'll get you your 2 o'clock hour. Why Today Matters on February 8th. I want Zay to talk about the dunk contest a little bit because there's a Longhorn in the dunk contest.
Let's go.
Jericho Sims is in the dunk contest. Is that enough to get y'all to watch? Zay will break that down for you at 2:30. Up next, it's Chip Brown of Horns247.com, flagship podcast, the Morning Brew article as well. We'll get his thoughts on Longhorn football with Savion Red going to the running back room. And does he think the basketball team is going to win those 3 games Zay is talking about and maybe put themselves in position for a number 1 seed? That and his Super Bowl pick coming up on the Horn. All right, this is Chad. Let's talk a little Twin Peaks. You got the big game coming up on Sunday, obviously. Make sure you get there early, and you could cash out quarterly. The first 100 guests qualify for the Squares board, plus claim your free queso bounce back when you watch the game at Twin Peaks. Get on out to your favorite location. Maybe want to get out there Saturday night as well. UFC 284 is going on then. How about Friday, 5 to 7? Experience the lingerie costume party paired with exceptional bourbons, tastings, and giveaways always, just tell them you've got plans Friday all the way through the weekend, and you're just not going to be able to get over to their dinner party. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views, Stastny, San Marcos, and Round Rock, TwinPeaksRestaurant.com. All right. We're rolling into the third hour on a Wednesday. It's Chad and Zay. Zay always picks a nice beat for us to start the third hour. What we got, Zay?
Easy Easy does it.
Nice. This will be off the... Is this a solo album after NWA and the relationship's all broken down?
Oh, man. I don't think so.
Or is this still when everybody's talking?
This is when everybody's talking.
Okay.
I forgot which album came first. I don't... Because Easy and the group dropped their albums in the same year. I think 88.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Like, be Straight Outta Compton or the album after that?
See, that's the thing. Straight Outta Compton, that's the first
That would
album
have been
for NWA.
first. Yeah.
But Easy dropped the album. I think Easy Does It
Right.
the same year.
Okay.
I don't know which one came first.
Gotcha. Speaking of, we were talking about unique voices, a really unique voice in rap. I've never heard another rapper that sounds exactly like Eazy-E to me.
He couldn't even rap.
Yeah.
Like Dre was like, yo, your voice is too unique for us not to put you on the mic, dog.
Right. We're going to help
Like,
you.
we'll have Cube write your lyrics, which that was a huge issue
Uh-huh.
to their demise. But yeah, Cube's going to write your lyrics, just say them in your voice, and we going to make this money.
So unique, yeah. All right, so an Eazy-E beat to get us started here. We'll get into this third hour with some really good football discussion. We'll mix in basketball, too. Let's go to the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. We do it every Wednesday about this time, and he is Chip Brown of horns247.com. Check out the flagship podcast. Check out the Morning Brew article as well. Chip, how are you?
What's going on, fellas?
What up, Chip?
Is up? A lot of different things to get into. We will get your thoughts on the Super Bowl, but how about we start with this Longhorn football team? Everybody always likes to talk Longhorn football, and as I know you've said plenty of times, and I always say it, football never dies around here, even if they're not playing. Let's go Savion Red first here. Savion Red to the running back room. What do you make of this move, and how would you break it down for fans?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is an interesting move. Savion Red played quarterback, running back, receiver at Grand Prairie. So, and he's thick. You know, if you look at his build, he's, you know, they list him at 5'10", which means he's probably 5'9", but he's 209 and he's thick and he's a football player, man. You know, there was an instance in the Oklahoma State game where Brendan Marion tried to substitute him in, and Steve Sarkisian wasn't. You know, he didn't want that personnel grouping, and Red came off the field, and you know he was upset, and he wants to play. He wants to get on the field, and there's opportunity right now at running back because you've got Jonathan Brooks recovering from hernia surgery. You've got, you know, Keelan Robinson, Jaden Blue, and Cedric Baxter Jr. on campus right now. But we all know in spring football, you're running two fields. You need running backs with the first team, the second team. You need two running backs each. And so, you know, there's opportunity. You're going to have Trey Wisner coming in the summer, and he's a football player too. I'm excited to see what he's got, but it's not, you know, it's way too early to say that this is a permanent move, but you know, I think it's good on Savion Red for doing this because like I said, he just wants to get on the field. And there's a little bit of similarity to the Roschon Johnson move from quarterback to running back. Roschon Johnson made that move before his freshman season when there was a run of injuries in the running back room. And then Roschon Johnson ended up, you know, being a top 20 all-time rusher at Texas, and he's, you know, been invited to the combine as a running back and is probably going to make a whole bunch of money as a running back in the NFL because of all the things he can do. And you know, Savion Red's the same kind of way. He's a special teams guy. He's just a football player. And so the move just happened. So let's give it a moment, but it's definitely a new storyline to watch as we get closer to spring football the first week in March.
You know, Chip, with Cedric Baxter coming in and being the highly, you know, talented five-star that he is, and, you know, you just mentioned Jonathan Brooks, and we didn't see any of Jalen Blue in that Alamo Bowl game, and Keelan Robinson, I still don't know what he really is. Yeah, he barely touches the ball, or what we saw this past season when Sark had Roschon and Bijan, but with Savion Red moving positions, Do Horn fans have a right to be concerned, or just like, okay, we really don't know where our running game's going to come from. Let's see if this guy could come in and just give us some type of production.
Well, I think I was disappointed in the Alamo Bowl, Jonathan Brooks not getting more carries, but then obviously he has the hernia surgery after the bowl game, so you're like, oh, okay. And I think Jonathan Brooks is going to be fine. We got to wait and see because we know that hernia surgeries can be weird. Ask Jordan Whittington, but I think on paper you look at Jonathan Brooks and say, okay, that he averaged 6.5 a carry last season. I think Cedric Baxter, who's getting a lot of run right now in winter conditioning because, they can practice now a little bit and in the off season, and he's getting a lot of run and he looks good. So, I think there's maybe, cautious optimism that this running back room is going to be, there's going to be a drop-off, obviously, from Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson, but maybe not as much of a drop-off as you might expect when you're talking about two guys who are both headed for the NFL. So, but it's a question mark. I mean, because until you see it, until they've done it, it remains to be seen. It remains a little bit of a mystery, but I like the mental makeup of these guys, and so I think that running back room is going to be okay. I like the mental makeup of Savion Rhett. I mean, like I said, that guy's a football player, so he reminds me a little bit of Quan Cosby from that just football physicality standpoint, and Quan's an all-time great receiver, but he did it all too at Mart and was just a football player. I mean, go to YouTube and watch his block on Lendy Holmes back when you could make back when you could make that sort of blindside block. But I think the running back room is going to be okay, but it's a question mark until we see it.
Talking with Chip Brown, horns247.com. Chip, give me your thoughts on Warren Roberson out of Red Oak. He ultimately picks Texas, does it in a nice dramatic way. I love the purple jacket. Take it off. It's not TCU. It's going to be Texas. So big flip there, too, making TCU fans mad and joining the Longhorns. This is a talented guy from everything I hear about him. Well, what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at him and you look at Derek Williams, these are a couple of dudes. They fit all the categories, punch all the boxes in terms of physicality, and they love contact, and so now you just got to see how they process, because it can take longer than you think. I mean, I always go back to Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones, was kind of a slow starter, and by God, when you got to his junior year, the guy was an all-conference player, and he's in the NFL, and he's a starter in the NFL, and it just, guys process at different, different levels. It goes fast for some, and it goes slow for others. You look at a guy like Jalen Catalon, who transferred in from Arkansas, who was a monster his freshman year at Arkansas, and then, ran into some shoulder injuries. But man, if Roberson can process and he's a guy who gets in his playbook and knows what he's looking for, then you get really excited, because they've got B.J. Allen, they've got Larry Turner Gooden. Obviously you got Jaron Thompson returning, but you want that runway. You want airplanes on the runway ascending, and that position has been a turnstile. I mean, it's not been good. When you look at guys leaving the program like Xavier Alford and Tyler Owens and my gosh, Marcus Caldwell, I could go on. JD Coffey, but you just hope they process and get in and are able to make an impact within the first couple of years, because I'll never forget Michael Griffin, his reaction when they were, pulling guys from other positions to fill the safety role. He's like, what the hell's going on at Texas, man? We should have some badass safeties waiting for their opportunity, and that's where Texas needs to be, and looks like they're headed.
Chip, let's go to the hardwood. The Horns right now sitting on top of the Big 12, and that these last 4 games going 2-2. I think they beat the teams that they needed to beat in Kansas State and Baylor, but the Tennessee loss and the Kansas loss, you definitely have to look at those. These next 3 games are huge because they're all must wins, in my opinion, if you're trying to get a number 1 seed. West Virginia, Texas Tech, Oklahoma. How do you think this Horns team is looking after that tough 4-game stretch they just had?
Yeah, and think about what you just said, Zay, that, I agree with you. They need to win these games. These are the games you're supposed to win coming up, and in contention for a number 1 seed. And that's such a testament to these players and this coaching staff for being able to maintain expectations despite Chris Beard leaving the program. And I thought that win at Kansas State was, I agreed with Rodney Terry. I mean, he said, this is one of the best wins I've been a part of in 30 years of coaching. And I agree, because K-State has that's a problematic matchup for Texas. They've got, really good length. They've got a stud point guard in Marquise Noel. They got a monster, small forward in Keontae Johnson. And you go down by double digits at K-State, and our man shot fake Sir Jabari Rice with that, he got him again on that 3-point shot right at the buzzer. Going into halftime, he makes all 3 free throws, cuts a 14-point deficit to 11, and then they keep coming, and you saw Tyrese Hunter really play well in that second half. Unfortunately, it didn't carry over for Hunter into that Kansas game. And that's a nagging concern. We've talked about how his numbers kind of fell off a cliff when Beard left the program, and it's been a struggle for him to kind of gain the comfort level. I mean, he's trying to do right by Marcus Carr. He's getting the ball out of his hands and trying to be a facilitator. But it's, that balancing act can still come together as you head toward March. But man, this team, they play for each other. And, Christian Bishop was unbelievable in the second half of that Kansas State game. And, they need him to continue to play at that level. That's a lot to ask, but that's what they're going to need to get deep in March and give Rodney Terry a serious chance to be considered for that head coaching job.
Big games coming for the Longhorns. Remember, it's an 11 a.m. tip for Texas and West Virginia at the Moody Center. So kegs and eggs, breakfast tacos for you on Saturday if you're getting out there. Chip, before we let you go, let's get your thoughts on the Super Bowl. Obviously, the history of these 2 quarterbacks. First time 2 black quarterbacks have faced off in the Super Bowl. They both went to high school in the state of Texas, so we in the state of Texas get to claim that. They both seem to be obviously great guys, good quarterbacks. Do you think Patrick gets number 2, or do you think Jalen Hurts is going to get his first Super Bowl? Man, if Mahomes can pull this off, then, you got to put him in there with the all-time greats, because they're down a little bit, with injuries at the receiver position. He's still coming through that ankle. And Jalen Hurts is the guy's a winner, and he'll do whatever it takes. He'll run, he'll throw, he'll do whatever it takes. And it's cool that both of these quarterbacks played in the Big 12. There used to be a stigma on Big 12 quarterbacks for the most part because they were air raid and, it didn't translate to the NFL. And now here we are. But, I think this is going to come down to a last play situation. I mean, I think it's going to be as close as what Vegas
thinks it's going to be. And I like Philly's ability to run the ball better than KC, and that's why I say if Mahomes pulls this off, he's probably done it with his arm, which he's done time and time again. But against that, Philly defense, that's a lot to ask. So, my gut is Philadelphia because they can run it, or should be able to run it. And if Kansas City pulls it off, man, Patrick Mahomes probably had a whole heck of a lot to do with it.
Yeah, no kidding. I think I'm going to be saying the same thing to everybody who we ask for picks this week. As a Cowboys fan, I'm going to keep saying, I hope you're wrong, but I think you're right, because that's exactly where I'm leaning. Chip, you know me. I believe in the blood and guts of football, and I do think the Eagles are better blocking and tackling. I think they're going to win it, and I'm hoping I'm wrong because I think they're going to win it by a decent amount too. But I'm just hoping to maybe send some negative energy towards the Chiefs. Maybe they can use it. But I agree with you. I think that the Eagles are a better team on Sunday. We shall see. That is Chip Brown. Check out horns247.com. Check out the flagship podcast, which he is a part of. Check out that Morning Brew article at Chip Brown 247 on Twitter. I'll give you a little information coming up about that Longhorn Blitz podcast as well. Chip, we appreciate the time, man. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks, fellas.
Good stuff. And good stuff on the Longhorns there. The Savion Red news. Of course, this is the time of year where a move like that can sound really good to fans. But I like the argument, Zay. If they call it right, scheme it right, use the ideas, I just don't want Savion Red to be the next guy on a long, depressing list from the University of Texas in the last, 15 years or 20 years or so, where Longhorn fans go to bed thinking, oh, if they had just given him the ball more. Oh, if they had just figured out a way to scheme him a little bit more. Maybe Savion Red can be that guy. Maybe this is the place he needs to be.
Yeah, and Chip's 100% right. We just don't know yet. All these guys are unproven.
Yeah.
All of them. And what Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson brought to the table, I know we're just becoming repetitive, but you can't get that back.
Yeah.
So just getting a third of that, including a really good passing game, like you have to have improvement on the passing game. That's a must. With us not knowing what this running game could be, the passing game with all the weapons that you have there, the addition to A.D. Mitchell and Xavier Worthy another year, Jordan Whittington's back. We heard Justin Wells talk about Jonte Cook, he gonna play. All those guys, it has to be good because we just don't know how this running game's going to be, Chad.
Yeah, and I keep asking this question. I'm going to keep asking it until we get to the season and into it. If you couldn't trust the play calling when he knew – if you couldn't trust the running back play calling when he knew its name, how can you trust it for sure when he doesn't know what its name is?
Yeah, that's why Quinn Ewers has to be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because that – like it or not, that is Sark's dream right now that he's presented us. His dream is beating people with a quarterback and receivers, not beating people with running backs. I know that's tough for Texas fans to hear because it's ingrained in their DNA, and they poured 2 statues over there for those guys. Cross your fingers. We're going to talk to one of those guys tomorrow from Radio Row,
for sure.
Mr. Campbell. But I think Sark wants to do it a different way.
Yeah, and that goes to he has bad feel for the game. At times.
At times he does.
Just has bad feel for the game. Like, you got to know, TCU, I get it. Their defense was good this year. But number 5, having 12 carries, can never happen. Should never happen.
Yeah, they had them.
But happened.
They had the chance. And that one was at home, correct?
Yeah, it was at home.
That wasn't
It was at home, 17-10, yeah.
Yeah, that was a rough one. The
only touchdown came from Jahdae Barron on that scoop fumble score.
Oh, that's right.
That's it. No offensive points.
Game day was in town. All that.
0 offensive points.
0 offensive points. That's not good. That is a hard way to win a game. All right, if you have thoughts on the Super Bowl, Longhorn football, or anything else, let us know on the Specs text line, 337-3776. Up next, why today matters, why there's a Longhorn in the dunk contest. We'll get Zay's thoughts on that, plus a couple other birthdays to hit. One of my favorites of all time would have had a birthday today. We'll get some of your thoughts on it. We've had great interaction on the Specs text line today. We will continue that. We got somebody with a flex shout-out next of a a girls basketball team that made the playoffs for the first time in a while. I'll tell you about them coming up as well. Stay with us. This is The Horn. All right, let's talk a little big game with Underdog Fantasy. It's never a little bit of a big game. It is the biggest game around, and Underdog Fantasy has a pick'em game idea for you to help you out. You pick higher or lower on your favorite Chiefs or Eagles stats for the big game. If you get all your picks right, you could win up to 20 times your money on that single night. But remember, they've got the special pick for you that involves Jalen Hurts. So starting tomorrow at 9 a.m. our time, you'll be able to make a special pick on Jalen Hurts, higher or lower than 0.5 total yards. That's 0.5 yards. He literally needs 1 yard in the game in order to go higher. So you go higher there, then pair it with at least one other correct pick, max $20 entry, and you could be taking home some cold, hard cash. So easy to do, easy to get signed up, easy to get it on your phone just like I did. Sign up today with the promo code HORN. Get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with my promo code HORN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Must be 18 or over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. It's the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Don't forget 9 a.m. our time for that Jalen Hurts special pick. Get that pick'em game together at Underdog Fantasy.
Talking my pimp juice. We're talking my pimp juice.
All right, Zay, do I have any shot here?
We'll see when the guy gets into the lyrics.
Okay.
Coupe de Ville.
Is it called Pimp Juice?
Yes.
Okay.
Shout out to somebody on the Specs text line for the request. I've been taking requests lately.
Okay.
On Twitter,
Look
ain't
at
that
you.
_ Zay. Specs text line, 512-337-3776.
Look at you going straight DJ on the people, taking requests.
If it's good, I'll take it.
Is it a group or an individual?
Individual.
Individual.
I'll give you a hint. He's a fake Austin Knight.
He's a fake Austinite. Ooh, the only guy I've heard you describe that way is Nelly.
Correct.
All right. There we go. See, I was paying attention. Hey, Nelly was a part of the big montage with his with the Band-Aid under the eye.
Oh, he had the Band-Aid on the eye?
He did. He went old school.
That's kind of like LeBron wearing the headband last night.
I was just thinking the same thing. Yes. He decided to let us take it all the way back. All the way back. All right. So, Nelly with Pimp Juice. You're saying this was performed at the post game?
This definitely wasn't performed. Not Pimp Juice.
No?
No.
Oh, because what? UT like curtailed that?
Yeah. He's talking about pimping. You can't have that on the 40.
Look, just because it's a free concert after a football game, that doesn't mean you can't get nasty with it, does it? Is that,
a little bit.
we can't be editing concerts.
Yeah.
That's not my kind of concert, by the way.
Because that wouldn't be considered one of Nelly's hits.
But do you think it's one he might want to do live?
Oh, yeah.
Have some fun with?
Yeah.
Yeah. He should be able to play it.
Yeah.
He should be able to play it. We got to, in fact, they ought to market certain things that way. If they have a lesser football game where they don't know, and then maybe the artist isn't the biggest artist, they've been able to, we tried to get this person, but we couldn't. Sell a couple of them as unedited. Just sell a couple of them as, anything could happen.
Even if you're talking about pimping.
Yeah. He can talk about anything. Come on, dude. We're talking about music here.
We're talking about pushing prostitutes out and taking some of their money back and shuffling it around.
It's a song.
Pimping.
It's a song. It's a song, and it would bring back memories for people of their pimping days, Just take a trip back to memory lane. Come on. All right. That would be Nelly joining Kool and the Gang, except Queen and SRV today. A nice group from Zay. Plus that great Easy E beat to start the hour. We hope you're having a good Wednesday. There's a lot of stuff on the board today. LeBron getting Kareem's record, and where's that number going to end up? Savion Red headed to the running back room for Texas, and we've also been talking Super Bowl 57. I'm picking the Eagles. Justin Wells picked the Eagles. Chip Brown picked the Eagles, and Zay's going to make his pick on Friday. Boy, I hope it keeps up like this. I hope we get to the end of the week, and it's all green, and everybody's taking Philly, and Mahomes, and Kelsey, and Chris Jones, and Andy Reid just get pissed beyond pissed, and then they react. That's what I'm hoping, Zay.
Yeah, our boy Sam Monson, Pro Football Focus, came on with us yesterday. He took the Chiefs.
He did. You're right. He liked Kansas City, and it is going to be a really intriguing matchup to see where this game goes. Let us know if you have thoughts on it. We've gotten great reaction on the Specs text line this week, 337-3776. We'll get back to some talk on that game, plus a little note from the NFL here before we're done. But I did want to get Zay's thoughts on this particular story. Let's go Why Today Matters on February the 8th. Here we go. All right, Zay, so we'll get to an NFL note here. Might be a good piece of news for an NFC team, but I need you to help me with this dunk contest update. I'm reading that Jericho Sims, actually, you told me Jericho Sims, and then I read the story. Jericho Sims, former Longhorn, of course, is going to be in the dunk contest. I'll admit, coming from the era I do and watching the dunk contest I get nervous when there's a center in the dunk contest. Tell me why Jericho Sims in the dunk contest might make sense.
45-inch vertical, 6'10".
Okay.
That's right. I mean,
he's freaky enough for you that he could be good in a dunk contest.
yes.
Okay.
And I don't know if he's going to be able to do like all those between the legs, behind the back, somersault type of things, but he's going to show his bounce. And if he could get creative with that, we saw Gerald Green blow the candle out that one year. Like just little things like that. If you could put just tiny props and put that into your strategy, you could do well, but he doesn't have to worry about Shaedon Sharpe, who I've had picked to win it before he just withdrew.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Is that why Sims is in?
I think so.
Oh, okay. They needed an alternate.
Right. So I'm excited. I mean,
anybody else jump out to you? Like, do you have a clear favorite at this point now? If your favorite just got taken out or just ducked out?
Not really. It's not the big names. I'm trying to see who else is on the list.
Yeah. See, that's what I wonder. They don't seem to have big enough names to get us there every year. I'll watch the dunk contest every year, but they just don't seem to have a lot of names to get everybody pumped anymore.
Right.
That's the sadness of it. We've talked about this. Ja Morant should be in a dunk contest. Why he's not is a total mystery to me. And how the NBA hasn't figured this out. They've adjusted that All-Star game so many ways. We're going to go to team this versus team that. Oh, that's cool. This year, we're going to pick teams right before the tip.
I like that.
But somebody hasn't figured out yet. Hey, fellas, whoever wins the dunk contest gets a bag of money. Or this car. Or a house. Or figure it out. How about this? It's modern NBA. The winner of the dunk contest gets 5 free DNPs in the second half of the season.
Oh, man.
Use them however you want.
Come on, man.
Can we please incentivize this event to get me some good freaky dunkers out there that I know?
Yeah, Jericho Sims, he'll be the only one you'll really be rooting for.
Man.
KJ Martin, the son of Kenyon Martin.
Oh, I'm old.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, make you feel old.
That does make me feel old.
He plays for Houston. He has bounce. He has a good chance. Trey Murphy out of New Orleans. And then Max McClung, who played for Chris Beard at Texas Tech.
Oh, dear
who
Lord.
became a huge.
He's in the dunk contest?
He was a huge household name, big social media viral guy when he was in high school. I get it, but he ain't even on like an NBA roster. Like it says Delaware Bluecoats. He's a G League guy.
Dang.
But he was such a big thing. When he went viral,
What are we doing?
in high school, and nobody wants to do it,
Oh,
that we're putting Max McClung in.
somebody call Mike and Dominique and tell them I'm sorry. Tell them we're all sorry. Call Larry Nance. Trivia question. First dunk winner is Larry Nance. Call them all up. Call up
Spud.
Spud. You know what? Don't call Spud because
Don't
this is
call Spud.
ultimately his fault. I mean, really it is. I love you, Spud.
What?
I love you, Spud Webb, but I think maybe is that when it first broke down? When everybody lost their mind that a 5'7" guy could actually dunk, so we let him win the dunk contest because he hit basic dunks?
What do you mean let him win? He threw it to himself.
Oh, come on.
One hand
Dominic won that dunk contest.
in 1986.
Dominic.
That's insane.
Dominic took it. That was a reunion, I think,
People
in
were thinking
Dallas.
Spud Webb was Jesus Christ
Yeah.
for dunking like that back then.
Yeah. It was,
I get it. With seeing Nate Robinson and what he's done now, it's not as impressive.
right?
But back then,
Dude, Nate had multiple, didn't he? Didn't he win 2 or 3?
Nate was jumping over people.
And Nate
Nate was doing cartwheels in the dunks. Nate has bounce.
Nate was a little different level too. Nate took the creativity to another level, I thought. But yeah, we need some names. Dwight Howard, is he the last guy? The last name that did it was Blake Griffin, jumping over that car. I think that was the last guy that we really knew in the dunk contest.
Yeah, big name. Somebody asked why aren't they in it anymore? They just want to chill on Saturday night. Like, most of them are already in the All-Star game. They have to play in that the next night. So a lot of guys, like, you won't even see LeBron in the arena because a lot of guys, I heard Jimmy Butler say that, so like, are you sad about being in the All-Star game? He was like, oh, boo-hoo, not making the All-Star team. I'm going to enjoy my vacation. A lot of guys want that.
Right.
A lot of guys, like with 50 games in the season, they kind of just want to get away and not think about basketball. So the big name guys like that already have the bright lights on them and, just the publicity already, they don't want to be in the dunk contest and, they don't want to be embarrassed either.
Yeah, brother. All right, fair enough.
You'll see a lot more in the 3-point contest than you would the dunk contest.
Yeah, that's actually been good these last few years. You get some guys, you'll get a Clay, Steph.
Yeah, that's the headliner.
Those guys are and by the way, they should put that last now.
Yeah.
I think they should officially admit it. Start the night with the dunk contest and make sure people get in their seats. End it with the 3-point.
Especially with the new way they're doing the 3-point contest. They're adding like the deep ball for the money ball.
Yeah.
I dig that.
My old man math does not like that, but I get what you're saying. And because you're right, because they're doing that and sprucing it up a little bit, it should go last. They should end with that. All right. Also today, for you Star Wars freaks, it's John Williams' birthday. My man is 91 and still one of the best composers that ever lived. If you are a fan of comedy and swearing, this trivia question has a birthday today. Who is the first comedian to swear on HBO? Who's the first comedian to have a special and stand on a stage and swear on home box office? You know, Zay?
Ooh.
Like late 70s, mid to late 70s.
Yeah, I had no. Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor's a great guess.
Oh,
Carlin would be a good guess. Those are the first two people we're going to think of. It's Robert Klein. He's 81 years old today, and the actor, comedian, does all kinds of different things. He did a special, and it was the first time anybody had heard someone swear on their television, like doing comedy. It freaked everybody out, and then we got all the great specials after. So salute to Robert Klein. Also, Zay, salute to my favorite child actor of all time. All time, in his prime, I don't think anything's better than Gary Coleman. He would have been 55 today. I was a Different Strokes freak. I was the right age for that show, and I think him as Arnold in the early seasons, first 2 to 3 seasons, is about as perfect as a kid actor gets.
Yeah, still Chad to this day. Nothing might not be as funny as Brandon Lang calling Todd Bowles. Gary
Grown
Coleman.
up Gary Coleman.
Grown up Gary Coleman.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, I remember watching reruns of Different Strokes growing up and stuff. And it's a great show. And yeah, Gary, R.I.P. He was special.
Yeah, it's hard to, I mean, it's weird to think about it, but like he would control the entire show and the entire scene. And I think when that show started, he was like 8.
Yeah.
I mean, the show was not nothing without him. The show was half of what it was without him.
So why couldn't Gary get work after that ended?
There's a lot of weird stuff with Gary. Because, I mean, the physical limitations he had and the medical stuff he was dealing with anyway.
Yeah.
He was going through kidney dialysis on set. On set, he was dealing
When he
with
was
all
that young?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
He had
I didn't know
like
that.
some kind of kidney function issue where he would go through dialysis between takes and stuff. That little kid was so tough back then, and then got on screen and was magic.
Yeah.
And then, so I think that might have been a little bit of part of it. And then I think it was a lot of typecasting with him. Like how do you take that cute little kid and then he grows up and you get into the awkward phase and you're trying to figure out how he fits into whatever.
Yeah, because I haven't seen the little dude in Game of Thrones in anything else. Like, I didn't see Mini-Me in much else other than being Dr. Phil's little sidekick.
It's fair. Totally fair. Yeah, sometimes it's tough.
It's
tough
tough.
to find that next role. All right, coming up, we'll get you stems and seeds, the latest on Derek Carr and where he could end up. Plus, we get you set for tonight. Remember, Texas women's basketball for you. Special edition on the Horn tonight, 6:45 pregame, 7 o'clock tip. It's going to be right here for you on the Horn. Oh, I like it. Got some evil in this one. This one's got a nice little, like some nice claws to it, Zay.
Yeah.
Do I have any chance here?
No.
I do not recognize that voice, but I like it. You're about to educate me on something. Who is it?
Tyler, the Creator.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, this was the song that made him really famous. Probably about 12 years ago, he had this group called Odd Future. He's around my age.
Okay.
It was probably the closest thing to Wu-Tang that you're going to get to.
All right.
And-
Tyler, the Creator.
Yeah, and he made his beats in this album, Goblin. The song's called Yonkers, by the way. This album, Goblin, like you said, it has that evil feel.
Yeah.
Throughout the album, he's like talking to this like devilish him, like an evil version of him. And he does it for 3 albums. He has 3 straight albums where he's like talking to this evil version of him.
What, he's got like an alter ego on the album? I
Kinda,
like it. Look,
but it's very creative. He's a genius, and yeah, he's very respected in the rap game.
I like it. Concept Records. Now, can I at least, and then if I go listen to this stuff, I'm assuming when I get there, there will be some dirtiness going on?
Oh, yeah.
A lot of good foul language?
Listen to this. In this video, Yonkers, he eats like a cockroach and then like yaks in the video.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I think I know
Like he's playing with the cockroach like somebody would play with a snake.
Oh, my God.
And then he like eats it at the end of the verse. It's insane. It had 2011 going crazy.
All right. Some Alice Cooper action in
Yeah.
rap. I like it.
Yeah.
Tyler, the Creator, finishing us off today. Nelly, Kool and the Gang, Except, Queen, SRV. Find you some music you love. The Easy E Beat started the hour. Grammys were last Sunday. And there's all kinds of musical stuff going on out there, I'm sure. So go find yourself some. Thanks to Zay, as always, for the great music. We love talking music around here. Also love talking football, and we will get back to that in a second. Real quick shout out to Jake over at SLP Lawn Care. I know a lot of people are dealing with the tree trimming issues. Jake is a guy that has been a partner with the station in the past, and he's been a friend of ours for a while here at the station, and you've heard some of the other guys maybe mention him as well. So Jake, SLP, it's SLP Lawn Care. That stands for Student Loan Payment Lawn Care, and he does have discounts for veterans if you want to give them a try. They were helping me out at the house today. All right, let's get you some stems and seeds here. Some NFL notes, including a story I just saw.
No stress, no seeds, no stems, no sticks.
Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678 or avconsultations.com. Derek Carr gets permission, the Raiders give permission to the Saints to talk to Derek Carr. They're trying to trade him or move him before February 15th, or it triggers that big money day. They're trying to clear up some salary cap. If they can get a trade together, they will get draft picks the other way. Zay, for New Orleans, you like this idea? Try Derek Carr?
I mean, I'd rather have Derek Carr than Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston. So, yeah.
Ding and ding. I agree with both of those ideas. They've been in a weird little quagmire since the end of the Peyton time. His weird ideas with what he wanted to do with Taysom Hill put him in the ground a little bit. That kind of, it stopped it. And then thinking Jameis was still a badass quarterback, that messed with him too.
Yeah, Jameis going through that whole year of sitting on the bench and watching Drew Brees, he was still doing the same quirky warm-ups and drills that Jameis Winston's always done. So, yeah, move on. And if you could get Derek Carr, that'd be a good pickup.
Yeah, he never really – I don't know that Jameis really got the fair shake, but it feels like they don't want to give it to him. So if you're not going to give it to him, maybe it is Derek Carr. The other story here, Zay, I just saw the Michael Irvin story. So correct me if I'm wrong. Something happened at a hotel in Glendale between him and a woman, an encounter with him and a woman, and because of it, they took him off NFL Network for this weekend?
Yeah, this is a guy that has a lot of luggage. We all know that. And, it seemed like what he was doing for the NFL Network and ESPN was steady. And he seemed, he does a good job there.
Yeah,
but
no, he'll get a little fired up on screen,
But that's
on
him.
camera, but that's Michael.
That's playmaker, yeah.
Yeah. It's disappointing to hear. I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan. I dig Michael Irvin, and I certainly believe in, redemption and forgiveness and all that stuff. But he's claiming this. He's talked about it. He says it was a 45-second conversation, but he has also admitted, he says they shook hands at the end of it. I left. That's all I know. But he also did tell 105.3 The Fan he'd had a few drinks and he did not remember the interaction with the woman.
Wait, he went on the fan?
Yes.
After he got what kind of or I guess he's on leave right now?
He went on the radio this morning, apparently, to try to explain himself. The Glendale police say they do not know anything about an incident that involves Michael Irvin.
Wow.
So nothing was officially reported, but NFL Network is going to take him off of all the Super Bowl stuff.
Oh, man.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's wild.
All right, there's a story to keep your eye on. Ball Don't Lie is next with Rod and Harge. 6:45 pregame for Texas women's basketball. Then after it's all done, Longhorn Blitz podcast around 9. Fight night at 10, Sports Guys Talking Wrestling at 11. So we'll still get you that Wednesday lineup, but we also wanted to bring the women's game to you after all the craziness messing with our broadcasts and some of our signals. Texas and Texas Tech, a great game on the women's side coming tonight. Be good. We'll be back tomorrow, 12:15. Earl Campbell and Tony Dorsett. Cross your fingers. See ya.